Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast. This is episode number 107, and I am one of your hosts, Mr. Levi Clay, and I'm here with my good friend, Mr. Mike McLaughlin. How is it going, bud?
Just dabbing on the haters. What about you?
Yeah, same routine. I'm just so tired of the question at this point. I don't mean don't ask it, but like I feel bad when people ask me the question. I'm just like, same shit, different day.
Yeah. I've had a couple of interesting developments. You know that my life is not one of quiet enjoyment,
No.
peaceful reflection time.
Yeah.
But nothing too negative. It's been pretty good. Moving forward nicely. Hopefully we can get moved house soon. I cannot wait to move because I'm going to have a bigger house. It's going to be nicer. I'm going to have more space. I'm going to have a spare room, which is going to get turned into a small kind of studio. I say that, what that actually means is we're going to move in and Nancy's going to use it like a walk-in wardrobe. And I'm going to have to pretend that I'm allowed space.
Yep.
Nah, I'm sure we'll find a compromise. But I'm looking forward to that. And I've done my first 2 shifts at work. So I've done my shadow shifts, and that's me now on full-time shift as of tomorrow. So I'm afraid, Guitar Souls, I will not be here for the live broadcast because I will be doing 48-hour shifts from now on when I am on.
Yeah, that's is it every time you're on? It's 48 shift every.
Well, I mean, if I do overtime, you can do 24 hours, but generally speaking, they rota you for 48 hours.
Right. And will that be every Monday?
No,
Okay.
it changes. Once the rota balances out, it should work out to approximately 2 days on, 3 days off, 2 days on, 4 days off, and
Right.
that kind of cycle. But it depends entirely on the young people, the staff, the circumstances, that kind of thing.
Sure.
But there is some stability to come, which is nice.
Good.
And fucking money, wages, money.
Wages.
I just missed the fucking cut-off for payday. Sorry, it's only a couple of weeks away.
Yeah, you'll get there. You'll manage. You'll be okay. You got a good support network around you.
That's it. And as Kendall said, you can't rip knickers off a bare arse.
That is very true.
Can't take something I've no got.
And I'm going to say the exact same thing that I think I said last time you said that. I bet he'd try. I'm trying to think if there's anything new going on in my life. No, just lots of transcribing. You know, some things never change. Boost in the old YouTube views thanks to the first story that we're going to talk about today. Yeah, nothing major. Oh well, I guess I launched that piano.
That's right.
Deal sponsored video. So
Good on you, man.
Please, if you are listening to the Guitar Souls podcast, it is a huge help to go and join Piano and get a free 30-day trial because they pay me for everybody that gets a free trial. So you can't, you get a free trial.
Everybody gets a free trial.
Everyone gets a free trial. You can cancel your free trial, but I'll still get a bit of money.
I might well steal that piano that you've got in your living room, the weighted key one.
Yeah.
And sign up myself. Just for your sake, not for me.
Yeah.
Purely altruistic. Purely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, yeah, that and I think one of the bits of fan mail we're going to read today is about losing the spark. I mean, we've not read the full email.
Not yet.
And when we sat down today, you kind of commented on if it really feels like I, Levi, are losing the spark for playing guitar, and I can kind of see where you're coming from. But you say that, I've got a guitar next to my bed, and I woke up this morning and I reached over for it and I laid back in bed and I closed my eyes and I just improvised over some chord changes and I was having a great time. So I am, don't get me wrong, I still have a great time playing the guitar. I still love playing the guitar. I'm just a little bit exhausted with the online guitar community thing.
Who would blame you?
I say the online guitar community thing because obviously we're a part of it, and like maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's just the exhausting situation that is
the competition of musicianship and musicians.
Yeah,
is what exhausts me. Everybody has to one up you, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, and I'm obviously going into these things never knowing that I'll never be one upping anyone. The only way I'll be one upping anyone, and I'll be one upping most people online when I do this, is because when I play the guitar, when I play something, I don't feel that I'm competing in the slightest. I just play the thing and I go and I walk away and go, I was really happy with that. I enjoyed that. That was fun.
That's it, man. It shouldn't be a competition.
Yeah.
It's I mean, healthy competition is totally fine. Friendly competition is totally fine. But this, you are an X if you can't do Y, is nonsense.
Yeah.
Don't pigeonhole yourself and you will never know everything about guitar and music. So just constantly try and learn.
Yeah.
Just do your best.
And look to guys like Martin Miller that aren't getting bogged down in that. Martin could have easily become an Instagram guitar player. Martin could have easily just uploaded YouTube videos where he does the craziest, most insane things he possibly can, but he doesn't. He spends all that money putting together incredible videos with a band in a studio playing live music, because that's all he gives a shit about. And you see that people coming in and going, "Oh, you should challenge Max Ostro to a guitar duel," and I know from dealing with Martin that he just looks at it, he's like, when will this end? The idea of challenging someone to a guitar duel, this is fucking embarrassing. And do you know what's made this? Do you know what's made it that? People like Jared Dines and people like Stevie T. But we will come to that in a second.
That was a
First,
good segue. I like that.
did you know? This show is brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars, and I want to let you guys know that now is the time to get involved on their upcoming Run 16 guitars. Now, there's some incredible guitars here available for your money, starting as low as $1,400. That is an incredible price for some cutting-edge guitar technology. Starting up first, we have the Run 16 Hype GTRs, available in a variety of colours, 6, 7 and 8 string models. You can also get your hands on a Metal X, again in a variety of colours and different string variations. You can also purchase the Metal V Headless, which is my choice of the bunch. Absolutely stunning, especially in that Dragon Burst. Absolutely beautiful instrument, super cool. Imagine that in an 8 string, you know you want it. And then finally, we have the Hype 6 GTR Ando San signature model. Again, another Hype GTR available in 6, 7 and 8 string models. As I say, these are available with starting prices of $1,400 US, which is an incredible price, but if that's a little too much for you right now, you can get involved on an interest-free payment plan and beginning that at just 375 Australian dollars. That's an incredible deal, guys. If you like the look of any of these guitars, do not miss your opportunity. Now is the time to get involved. Anyway, on with the show. So, as always, a huge thanks to our friends and family over at Ormsby Guitars. Please do go and check those guys out. As you saw from our new ad roll that I finally pulled my finger out of my arse and did, they've just launched the Run 16 models. You've got the Run 16 Metal V Headless, the Metal X, the Hype GTR, and the GTR Ando Sound Signature. And for me, it's all about that Metal V Headless. Love it. Don't know why.
Fair enough, man. Love it. I can't wait to see one in person.
Yeah.
Like, photos of a real one, because I think that's when I'll be like sold.
Yeah.
I was kind of the same with the Goliath, to be honest. Until I saw like people holding the Goliath, I was like, I don't know how that. I don't know if I'm really into the headless. I don't know if I like Strandberg. I wasn't so big on Steinberg, and then I saw someone holding one, and I was like, that's perfect. It just fits.
And of course, as we know from my Goliath, which we can see on screen here, they do hang even though they're headless. So there's a stand over here, just here, that you could quite easily put a Metal V Headless on. So Perry, get on it, son.
Make it so.
Also, of course, we want to say a huge thanks to our friends over at Dead World Audio. Please do go and check those guys out. This is the Duality DX killer pedal. It's a boost pedal with a 4-cable gate system in it.
The gate's ridiculous on it, man. Ridiculous.
I had someone asking about gate recommendations just recently. And I usually go for the TC Sentry. That's what I would recommend.
Yep.
But why not? Give this a bash.
I know that Dan has been reviewing the gate. I think he's going to release a standalone gate as well, but that's just speculation on my part.
Yeah.
But he did say to me that he's been working on an updated version of the gate.
Yep.
Because I said to him, listen, man, I've run this 4-cable and it sounds ridiculous and it's gating so well. And he's like, oh, well, there's an upgraded version. You need to try the new one too. And I'm like, damn it, stop it.
Yeah. I mean, like it is a great gate, but there's only so far you can go when there's just one knob for the gate A and gate B. Whereas on the TC Sentry, I can't even remember how many knobs are on that. It's down there. Is it down there, or did I take it off?
I think you've knobbed it off.
Fine.
I think the Sentry's got 4.
4 knobs. 4 knobs.
I'm sure it is.
Right. So you do have a little bit of options to tweak it, but yeah, this is giving you a killer boost pedal in So check it out. Great. And of course, we also want to say a big thank you to our supporters over on buymeacoffee.com. Link in the description if you would like to go and check us out on Buy Me a Coffee. You can support the channel. It's not the channel. Support the podcast. Sorry, I'm so used to saying support the channel. You can support the podcast and get access to our bonus episodes. At this stage, there is one bonus episode. It was great fun. I mentioned this last time. I wasn't expecting it to be good fun.
I think you were expecting torture.
Not just from that perspective. I just didn't think the format would work all that well. But I think we made it so conversational, and we got into the mindset of like...
It was cool hearing you analyse the riffs and like the approach of them as well. Not just like how they were written, but how to perform them.
Yeah, like the mindset of how you go about learning stuff like that.
Yeah. So, that was cool. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I've got more riffs for you to look into if you want to.
I'm smiling like I'm happy about this.
Yay! And I'm still waiting on you to get me some riffs out your book.
I know. Well, we'll film another bonus episode soon. That was, what was that? April's bonus episode. So we've got to do one for May. So yeah, go and check us out and buy me a coffee. You can either give us a one-off donation, or you can subscribe as a monthly member. And yeah, you'll get access to our bonus episodes. So please do that. And that's our NAM fund, which is kind of cool.
Please,
So,
please help us. That would be very good. Also,
go on.
we've got the GsolesFanMail.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to go to.
So GsolesFanMail@gmail.com. If you want to send us some stuff in, please do. And we actually do have a few.
We've got a couple of bits of fan mail we want to read today. One a funny little meme, and then one for a bit of a topic of conversation. So take us away with this one, Mike.
Let's do it. So this is from Sakiri Tempest. I hope I've said your name properly. Apologies if I haven't. Dear Guitar Souls, I thought of this while watching Levi's most recent Rage Time. Please find it below and attach for viewers' pleasure. Maybe it won't make it to the next one, but that's okay. With a smiley face. Kind regards, Sakiri. Or Sakari, is it? Sakari. Sorry, I'm sure that's how you pronounce it. It's much better than how I was pronouncing it before. I'm sorry. Anyway, we have a absolutely cracking meme that I was buckled at earlier on when I saw it.
As you can see on screen.
Yes, so you've got the Alpha versus the Chad.
Yeah.
Not the Alpha versus the Chad, sorry. The Alpha versus the... No, it's not. No, talk about the Beta versus the Chad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than the Alpha versus the Alpha, essentially, what I was saying there. So you've got the Beta Cuck, average Periphery fan responding to Levi after PS logo Periphery Rage Time. And it's that face that Stevie T does.
It really was. It was just... Well, it was actually, you know what? To be fair, not that many Periphery fans went off in the comments on that video.
Nah.
And I think that, well, they didn't for two reasons. One, they didn't have a fucking leg to stand on. And two, the pinned comment was me explaining, you don't have a leg to stand on here. I'm more than happy to argue with you, but just really consider the points I'm making before you waste your time, type thing. So I think there was only 4 people in total.
I felt like it, I don't know if anybody had seen it on Facebook, but that chap that was replying to you and basically all he could do was fire out ad hominems.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like I had to just be like,
yeah,
you're embarrassing yourself here, man. Like, take a step back and look at the situation.
Yeah.
You are not the good guy here.
Yeah, it's not even that. Like, I kind of wanted to tag Misha on that, again, because it was in response to his thing, but just tag Misha and go, just so you're aware, this is the level of your fan base.
These are the people that are defending you.
This is what you do to people. This is how people behave in your name. This is how people behave when they're defending you. They don't even attack me. They attack my ex-wife. Just think about that, Misha. Just this is your legacy, bud. Embarrassing. So yeah.
I wouldn't say that's on Misha, but at the same time, it's as part of a consequence of how he has weaponized, or how people have weaponized themselves based on being rabid fans.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It's not on Misha. It's not his fault, but you can bet your fucking bottom dollar that if somebody was doing something like that in our name and we saw it, we would immediately jump in and go, what the fuck are you doing? This is not how people treat each other, and it's certainly not how I want you to act on behalf of me.
I think even way beyond that, neither of us would be like, hey man, I don't even know you. Why are you so bent out of shape about me? You should like, well, why are you commenting if you don't know who we are?
Yeah.
And we're not bent out of shape. You're the one that's came to a public comment post to be like, don't talk about me like that.
Yeah, you're making my life really difficult.
I know. How am I supposed to afford a second Lamborghini? It's a shame too, man, because like, even in the comments, I was like, I'm just really perplexed why you would act like this. When you, like, this is somebody who, or both of us have championed him as a good example for music business in general for the last, 2 years?
Yeah.
For him to just come into the comment section and just be a dismissive wank.
Yeah.
And that's what I got for it. And I'm just like, I've got no time for that pish, man. Yeah. It just echoes all the bad rumours we heard about him for years and years ago that we hoped he'd walk past.
Yeah, and it's worth pointing out, not rumours, because I've
well, you know what I mean.
Sent the literal emails that he'd sent to guitar companies.
I just
with his whole like, I can either make or break your brand.
I was really hoping he'd moved past that bollocks, but maybe not.
Yeah. Ego goes to the head sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so the average guitar soul responded to Levi's PS logo. I mean, I don't know who this gentleman is, in that meme. I
don't know how either of them are.
He's a very handsome chap. So
the big Chad.
Yeah, if all of our fans look like that, I'd be very proud of that. So on yourself, Guitar Souls fans. That's you. You are, our arseholes all look like that. So good on you boys.
My arse actually puckers just like that.
And we also got another email from Joe Pitcher talking about losing the spark. Now, as I
Yes.
said, we didn't actually read this, so this could derail into like horrible racist nonsense. We don't know. It could take a real left turn. I doubt it.
Losing the spark. I now hate. Whoa, calm it. No.
It's just a list of people that Joe Pitcher hates. No, so I thought that as a title, it was so poignant to how me and Mike have been behind the scenes and talking about music that I didn't even want to spoil it for ourselves and kind of pre-prepare what we would say on something like this.
Yes, I think this is very much an off-the-cuff, general, natural reaction.
I'll bring it over for Mike
kind
to
of
read then.
topic. So thanks again, Joe. Thanks for writing in. Appreciate it. Hi, Levi and Mike. Hope you handsome devils are doing well. But although having missed the last couple of weeks' live episodes and premieres, I just finally want to thank you guys for bringing together the Monday Night Guitar Geek Club. Thank you. And sorry you've missed it. Don't worry, you can always catch up. Community's given me something to look forward to on a Monday after the slog at work and just gives me a good feeling for the rest of the week after an hour or two talking guitars and other nonsense patter. I mean, that is a perfect summary. Nonsense patter is exactly what happens in the chat, but it's great fun. And as I said earlier on in the episode, I won't be there tonight, tomorrow.
But I will.
Tonight. Yeah.
I'm there.
I'll be there in spirit though.
Yeah.
While I'm at work. Anyway. Now, I'm emailing you straight after a phone call I had with my best mate. We've both been busy the last month and only just really checked in with each other after a stressful time. We used to talk on the phone every other day or so and rant about guitars to each other. I've called him tonight and he sounded really depressed and began to see how he's packing up playing guitar seriously and will just keep it an occasional hobby. He said it does not make him happy anymore and doesn't want to worry about not making a success out of music. He and I used to play together in a band and playing is absolutely crushing real talent there. From what he was saying, he seems to feel like he's paid his dues and given his all to make it as a musician, but as harsh as it may sound, he's really just given up at the first signs of failure. I talked with him about it and he just said he lost faith because he's no purpose to work with it for now, nothing to work towards. He feels that there's no opportunity for him in music, and all I could say to him is that he hasn't given himself the opportunity, he hasn't put himself where the opportunity is. It's gotten to hear that he's given up before he's even started. I'm really writing to ask if you guys have ever had a mate or someone you played with that just gave up and talked themselves into packing it in before really pushing themselves to achieve what they wanted. I know I can't tell him how to live his life, but it's just been a bit mad to hear him say things so reverse from the enthusiasm he used to have about making music. Anyway, I hope you chaps can give your thoughts on this. Sorry if it's long. I know how Levi likes to keep it around 1.5 hour mark. Big love to you and stay hydrated, Joe. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Great fan mail. Well, you and I could probably talk about each other.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, I think not even just talking about each other. I think it's worth pointing out, Joe, and to anybody that has been in a situation where either a friend has shown that or you've experienced that yourself. I think if you have a conversation with anybody that is successful, they've all had that personally. They've all had a point in their life where they've gone, "Am I doing the right thing here? Am I just wasting my time?" I know I've had those thoughts and feelings when I first came out of university, and I was a self-employed musician in London. I always just scraped by, just managed to make enough money that month to go another month type thing. And I would come home from a long day of teaching in schools and stuff and be like, I fucking hate my guitar. I'd look at it and be like, you are a bastard. Why have we got in this together? But so what? Like, I think from reading that email, what I think is worth saying to your pal, Joe, is, or anyone that experiences this, like, you shouldn't pick up a musical instrument in order to chase success. You should pick up a musical instrument because you love playing music. And the success side of things that comes with that or doesn't come with that should never impact how much you love playing the instrument. I don't want to suggest that your friend's made the right decision because I don't think he has. But if he has walked away from it because he's never going to achieve the success he wants, then he has made the right decision in the sense that he was in it for the wrong reasons. Like, you've got to be in music for the love of music, and especially knowing how much of a dwindling industry it is and how hard it is to make a living in full stop. You know what I mean? What do you think?
I kind of agree with you. I was really just listening to what you were saying there because I love listening to you explain stuff, man. You're always really eloquent and like fixed on your point most of the time. Like, you won't really give comment unless you know what you're going to say, kind of thing. Just good. It's reasoned. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with you fully because I don't think it's necessarily the wrong reason to play guitar for wanting success. I think the context of that might be something different. Joe mentioned they were in a band together. That band might have been making money. They might have been doing functions, and that might have been the route that his friend wanted to go down.
Yeah.
And in that situation, I can understand where he would get scunnered, especially considering the last year and a bit there have been no gigs, no live music, no
Yep.
opportunities, no chance to jam with musicians, new musicians or ones that you're aware of, no opportunities to grow in a public setting per
Mhm.
se with other musicians and whatever else. I think it is totally natural to want to move away from guitar and then to get the passion back at times. And I think it's really quite important to know your limits, because there have been times where I've had to put my guitar down and just basically ignored it for a month or two to get the passion back.
Sure.
And I genuinely think that for me personally, were I to have just tried to weather the storm and push through, I would have just gave up. Like, I'd have been like, you know what, man, I don't want this anymore. And I've had that with previous bands. I've had it where even though you've got gigs booked and you're having a good time and you're writing music that you like, you just get so caught up in trying to avoid the responsibility and the mental load and the stress from it, because it's nobody ever talks about the difficulty of changing something that as a hobby into either your main occupation or a way to make money.
Sure.
And that you have to be very careful in how you think about it, because if you go from having a hobby, i.e. something that you want to do in your own spare time that you enjoy for your own growth, versus something that you see just as a means of monetization and
Yep.
survival. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but you need to be very careful about what you're expecting to get out of it.
Yeah.
You are probably going to be one of the most blessed people on earth if you can continue to just do whatever you want on guitar or as a musician and make money in any sense.
Yep.
Because the truth is, most of us need to compromise.
Yeah.
And that's just nature of, even like when you go to work, you wouldn't be like, fuck, I need a new job, right? I'm just going to write a job advert. I want a job where I do this and I want this wages, and people are going to snap your hand off,
Yeah.
unless you're like a mega specialist and you are the top of your game. But even in the music industry, that I don't think that happens. You could be the best guitarist in the world.
Yeah.
Here's a case in point, right? Dizzy Rascal, huge R&B hip hop star, was touring the world. Guthrie Govan was his guitarist. I don't think I've ever heard any guitar on any of his tracks other than when Guthrie was there. Guthrie could pick anybody to work with. He was in tour with fucking Hans Zimmer. It's Guthrie. But to pay the bills, he was doing the gig with Dizzy Rascal.
Yeah.
But I think he also enjoyed that, because he was like, cool, there's something new for me to do in guitar.
Yeah.
Here's a completely different genre that I've stepped into, but I'm not known for.
Yeah.
Fuck it, let's do something a bit different and have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And he's in that very, very lucky position where he's got to the point where it's not about, I need to learn this or I need to learn that. It's like, oh fuck, I didn't realise I could have done this, or this fits in here. And it's hard to be that motivated. Really, really hard.
Yeah, I like your point there. Obviously I do agree with you, and I talk about the idea of like you're in it for the wrong reasons. It's not like you should think one way or the other about music. It's just saying like the inevitable conclusion of chasing success and forgetting about the love of playing music is more often than not going to be crushing disappointment, because making a living in music is really fucking hard, as we all know. And your point there that I want to jump on that I love is making a living in music without compromise, doing the things that you want to do, is almost impossible.
Yes.
Like, I'm really lucky in terms of I make a good living in the music industry. And that's wonderful. But I don't really get to do anything of what I want to do.
Well, you get to pick and choose the jobs that you get come through, but that's not because you've went, well, actually, I want to transcribe X this month.
Sure.
So I get what you're
like
saying.
Even from a playing perspective, like let's not pretend that I started out in the music industry with the intention of doing what I'm doing now.
Mhm.
I've had to find the thing that works, find my niche and exploit it to its full potential.
Mhm.
But I would have liked to have been doing a lot more playing than I actually am doing now. Really, like people tease me and say you don't even make a living from guitar, you make a living talking about guitar. Sure, fine.
You're just like, damn it.
Yeah, you missed the living part.
I would say flourishing.
Yeah,
you work very hard and you deserve to be recompensed for that. And it's obvious you work hard because you're passionate, and that passion pays off.
Yeah, I love the job side of things, but there are certainly aspects of like music that I haven't got to do as much as I'd like to do, and I'm constantly pushing forward to try and do some of those things. So yeah, keep having those conversations with your pal Joe, and just point out to him, like, get him in on the Monday Night Guitar Geek Club, because I think being passionate about music is just reminding yourself that actually there's a great community of people for you to share in your passion and your interest with. And guitar is a weird one where it is a hobby that a lot of people have, but it's a hobby that I would say a disproportionate amount of people have, and then they go, "Oh, I'd like this to be a career." You don't get that with Warhammer or.
I mean, there probably is in niches, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's the it could even be like a childhood dream or fantasy for you to be like a rock star selling at arenas and living that rock and roll lifestyle. That in itself being a sentence is just proof that it's something people aspire to, and it's like a stretch goal, shall we say.
Yeah.
But aye, bring your friend in. I think that is probably the best suggestion I've ever heard. Only because if he wants to come along, you know for a fact what it's like in the chat. People are pretty fucking accommodating and really nice. And whether your friend walks away thinking about it rejuvenated on guitar or solidified, he's kind of put it to a community of people who are only going to ask in his best interest and of their own experience.
Yep.
So tell him to come along, even fire us a message. If he wants to email us, tell him to send us an email and we'll try and help.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, like, I'll motivate him. Music's awesome. Focus on that.
Get your finger out.
Yeah, go and listen to a bunch of music and just be reminded how awesome music is. And and there's a wealth of things to learn. Like, you never stop learning, and that's cool. I didn't take the I'm not of the opinion that he's suggesting that he's entitled to success. Though Joe implies that he's very talented, and therefore when someone is very talented and someone, people constantly tell you that you're very talented, what comes with that is often that sense of like, well, I should be successful type thing. But all that aside, like, just focus on how much you love fucking music. Music's great. Music's awesome. So.
Absolutely. And I think the other side of the coin is that a lot of people don't really talk about. I'm not saying that Party Cannon are successful, but we certainly have got much further than I would ever have envisioned. Certainly, my experience of being in a band that gets to tour and stuff was something I didn't think I would ever get to do when I was younger. I fantasized about it, I worked towards it, but I didn't think it would ever happen.
Yeah.
But no one speaks about how, again, the compromises you need to make, the things that are sacrifices, and the bad sides of it. You know what I mean? I can talk about how fucking cool it is touring, till I'm blue in the face, and how much fun I have, and buying new equipment and getting to road test it and whatever else. And I went to that gig and my amp sounded amazing in that room because I had this cab or whatever else. But nobody talks about 10 hours in the car, no sleep, fucking cold pasta for dinner for 3 days, terrible sleeping accommodation, load in and load out, shitty venue managers, fucking being hungover for days on end, stinky clothes, fucking the things that happen sometimes with money, where like your vehicle breaks down and that costs you money, or something else happens and it costs you money, or the venue manager doesn't pay the money that you were agreed as a guarantee, and there are so many things that can go wrong.
Yeah.
But if you're even slightly in the mindset of not enjoying it, I think that would very quickly take you out of, I'm enjoying this and I'm just going to crack on, to fuck this, I'm going home. And I've nearly been there myself. We've all cracked at one point of being like, this tour, there's something about it, it's just fucking killing me. I'm so angry. And it happens. And that's the other thing about it as well. Being in a band with other people, nobody talks about how hard it is sometimes to manage other people.
Yeah.
And your own relationships with them. Oh, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Like, when it's good, it's fucking great. See, when everybody's stressed, I don't know how many times we've nearly had fist fights. Genuinely. And
totally.
I'm not that kind of person at all. I'm not really confrontational. I don't mind having a conversation with people or challenging them, but I'm a big shite bag as well, you know. I'm the gentle giant, quite honestly.
Yeah. Brad Paisley has a song called Laughing All the Way to the Bank. And I think it paints that image. Like, initially you could listen to that song as a fan of Brad, but not a musician, and go, oh, these guys have got it. You know, musicians have it so easy. The chorus to the song is, well, we're laughing all the way to the bank because it all just seems so funny. A bunch of guys like us in a big tour bus making that easy money, and it's not. It's just not. I mean, all right. To be fair, when you get to that level of success, it probably is relatively easy money because you've got people that do everything for you outside of the performance. But yeah, being in a band and going out touring is how long are your sets? 90 minutes, maybe?
No, we're not anywhere near that.
No?
No. Like, most death metal bands won't play that kind of length because there's so much.
Because your songs are all 30 seconds long.
That's not fair. Party Cannon have actually got some of the longest songs you can imagine in the genre, and they're like 6 and 7 minutes. But it's 6 and 7 minutes of intense musicianship.
Okay.
Quite honestly, I think our set is probably somewhere on average 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay.
But if we're headlining or whatever, we'll try and push it a wee bit.
Yeah.
But that's just as much for us as it is for the crowd. Like,
Sure.
I don't think that kind of energy can be sustained for an
Yeah.
hour or two without people getting bored or without the band getting too fatigued.
Okay.
Try and keep the energy up, then a fair amount is good.
But so let's say at a push, an
Mhm.
hour. I mean, no, even better for the argument. Let's go 40 minutes then.
Right, okay.
So 40 minutes,
Mhm.
you will get to play. You get to do what you love for 40 minutes,
Mhm.
and then all the rest of the time is all the shit that you hate. The things you have to do
Not
in
all
order
of
to
it,
get that 40 minutes.
but you're right. There's a lot of... We'll even take early party cannon as an example. We drove to Holland. So we drove to... I think we actually went to Essex, so Harwich. From here is what, 10 hours? 11 hours?
Harwich,
Yes.
Harwich.
Sorry. We went to Harwich. Prick. So we went to Harwich.
Hey, I'm constantly getting corrected on my pronoun. Gaukthrapple.
Where did you get that from?
Exactly. See. I would also like to point out I was driving the other day and Melissa burst into laughter because she saw a sign for Bonkle, and I was like, "See, it's funny."
See if you go down the other side of that, of Bonkle. There used to be a sign that said Bunkle New Mains, and somebody scraped letters off it, so it said Bonk N-E Man. And it was I used to love it, man. Like, that's creative. Anyway, sorry, talking about touring and stuff.
Yeah.
Where were
So
we?
you went down to Harwich.
We went to Harwich. We got the ferry across. I believe we got the ferry to Belgium. We drove from Belgium into Holland, and we had about 6 people at the gig. The drum kit fell off the riser on stage, and the amplifier that I had borrowed, with no disrespect to the owner of the amplifier, was changing channels randomly. So that was fun.
And
But you know what? Still had a fucking great time.
Yeah.
But that's what you need to expect. That's what you need to know you could be in for. You could get to a venue and go, fuck. Like, there's no guarantee that it's going to be sold out. Big venue, great management, well organised.
Yep.
Like,
and more importantly, let's throw the other thing into consideration here. Everybody that listens to this podcast, I'm sure, considers Party Cannon to be an example of what they'd love to have, like going out and playing around the world, doing tours and things, right?
Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that what we've got isn't good enough and that we need the next step or whatever. I mean, I would love it if we were kicking about in fucking tour buses and doing nightliners and whatever else, but
you do. Every single member of the band has a day job.
Yes, correct. And we're all fairly professional. The drummer, he works for a bank. The singer, he does the same as me. He is a support worker for kids and social care. Craig works for KFC, and Chris works for the he's a civil servant. So, like, we need to hold down day jobs. There's not really much else you can do. Don't get me wrong, Party Cannon are in a very privileged position where we generate enough revenue through merch and stuff that we can afford to put the money forward for gigs. For example, we'll pay for our own flights to go to America and then recoup the money either in guarantees or merch or whatever, and just keep it flowing forward. So it's not like we're getting money in and then we're all getting £1,000 a month or whatever. I fucking wish we could make money off it, but it pays for itself.
Yeah.
And I think that's another aspect of the money making situation when it comes to music that you really need to be conscious of. It takes a long time to get to the point where you're like, cool, we can take money out of here. Yeah. And we only really do it in special circumstances. See, if we're touring for more than a week or two, that's when we go, right, guarantees are for fuel money, this is for this, that's for that. Whatever extra we make on the merch, we'll split that, and then that's extra spending money. Yep. And 9 times out of 10 we cover pretty much most of the costs.
So people having the expectation of what success means. Like,
it's all sacrifice.
What is it that you're looking for when you're going out looking for success?
Totally.
Because even, I mean, I used you as the example because you can confirm it, but we know there are lots of bands that, like, you would consider big bands where many of the members still have day jobs.
Because just about every band you can imagine in death metal.
Yeah, it's just nature of the beast, isn't it? It's just how it works. So anyway, should we move on and talk about some stuff? So let's start with the Schadenfreude of the week. And obviously his face is going to be in the thumbnail because
Schadenfreude of the year.
Because I like laughing at other people's misfortune. And let me be clear, Stevie T, like, having his channel hacked and all his content deleted. Like, I'm laughing at it because haha, act like an asshole, sometimes things come back and bite you in the ass type thing. The only reason I'm going to laugh at this is because he will get his channel back and he will get all of his content back, which is the right thing. Like, he doesn't deserve to lose his YouTube channel.
Fair, but it's a natural consequence of not having 2-step verification switched on. So in my mind, really, Stevie T's a fucking idiot. I genuinely, like, difference of opinions or whatever else aside, if you have 2.7 million subscribers on a social media outlet and you don't have a secure password and you don't have a secure way to keep that password safe, then when someone inevitably hacks your account, you fucking deserve it. You do. Tell me I'm wrong. He's not had something knocked down for fake copyright strikes where you can say, wait a minute,
sure,
that's not fair.
No, you are
He
right.
is the harbinger of his own demise.
Well, we were only speculating on the two-step authentication thing.
I'm sorry. It was a fucking crypto account that took over it and kept going live spamming crypto shit. There's no way that was somebody that just had access to his passwords.
No, but I mean, we can reasonably confidently say that there are people out there that can deal with two-step authentication. Like, they can get their way round that.
You can't unless you've stolen that person's email address or phone, in which case you probably would have hacked the email address first. Yeah. And again, big step back. Why do you not have two-step authentication on that? It's a very easy thing to do. It's a very secure method. Everybody knows it. It's recommended on every fucking website you ever put your password near. Sure. Why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
So again, not assigning blame to the victim, if you want to call him that, but Stevie, fucking fix your shit, mate. We could have stole your channel and just turned it into the guitar souls. And we didn't.
Yeah. So for anyone not in the know, Stevie T of 2.5 million subscriber fame.
2.76, I think it is.
Anyway,
doesn't matter. More than he deserves.
Yeah.
Excuse me, in my opinion.
Yeah, got his channel hacked, and whoever hacked it deleted all of the content from it, and then started streaming Bitcoin stuff, or crypto stuff on it, I should say. And yeah, people got all up in arms with this, and of course they did. And you know who got up in arms about it? It's the cabal. You know, it's anyone that can say my friend Stevie T. And
nobody then.
Well, you know, Glenn Fricker got that video up as fast as humanly fucking possible.
Of course he did.
Yeah,
even though they're not friends.
Well, that's I guess the idea of like the cabal that I'm always talking about. These people don't even, and I'm sure a lot of them do, but they don't necessarily have to like each other. But it's that mutually beneficial. Like, it's good for me to be seen with you. It's good for you to be seen with me. So I think you're a dick. You think I'm a dick. But so what type of thing? I don't play that game.
Nah,
and we'll never play that game.
We've got an Inkleak. We've got the fucking Monday Night Guitar Geek Club.
Yeah,
the good cunts.
Absolutely.
That's what we keep with ourselves. Fuck the Monday Night Guitar Geek Club. It's the good cunts.
The good cunts. The Monday Night good cunts.
Are you a good cunt? No, oh, well. And you don't even need to say anything else because in fairness, all it is that everybody else is a bad cunt.
Monday Night Guitar good cunts. That's same letters. I like
it. He's cheeky, the Geek Club good cunts.
Yeah. So
I like it. It's exchangeable.
It was interesting to see, like, Mike sent me this, that when his channel got pulled, and I was like, oh, that's pretty wild. And then I checked my YouTube analytics, and suddenly my Stevie T video, which in the grand scheme of things isn't a popular video, it wasn't one of my popular videos.
Nope.
Doesn't sit in my top 10 videos, probably doesn't even sit in my top 30 videos.
This was the Richard Benson thing, wasn't it? The criticism of how he treated other people online.
Richard Benson and Emmanuel Aguila. Is it Aguila?
Hugs brother?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and in the grand scheme of things, like my video, I did my thing, and then like a year later, KDH did his, and KDH is a much better example. He's done 2 of those now. I reached out to Kalen and was like, "Get ready to watch a massive spike in views on your videos," and that video has spiked significantly because if you go on YouTube and type in Stevie T, you're not going to find any of his videos anymore. You're going to find my video. You're going to find,
but you'll find his channel. Yeah. Barren and empty.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think by the time this podcast is live, it's entirely possible he would have got all his content back. And he will get all his content back because, again, I think this is really important to point out. Like, they were laughing about Stevie T in the Guitar Boomer post group. And I was like, to be fair, like, I don't like the guy. And I don't like him probably more so than most people, going out of my way to actually take him down a peg. But I'm not going to sit and laugh at his misfortune here because in the grand scheme of things, like, nobody deserves to have their YouTube channel taken away.
No, I know. I'm sitting here being very flippant and facetious about it. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't want to see the guy without, like, that's obviously his main revenue. That's the way he makes money.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's poor, but at the same time, I don't want to fuck with taking bread off somebody's table. That's not.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here laughing, as you said at the start of Schadenfreude, but it's his own fault, but I'm glad that it's going to get fixed, or that it looks like it's going to get fixed.
Yeah. The sad part about it is not, I'm not going to say you won't learn from this because there's not all that much to learn, but actually,
yes, there is. Internet security is very fucking important, especially when it comes down to your main fucking income.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
So here's the lesson for everybody: 2-step Verification. Do it. Cunts.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know why I started clapping there.
Yeah. What I obviously would like him to look at from this is because obviously he had a really shit day when that happened.
You think?
Yeah.
I remember when you lost your YouTube, and that wasn't just a shitty day.
Yeah, I was mad. I was really mad.
You were mad at the world.
Yeah. And I only had, I don't know, 6,000 subs at the time, so
Didn't matter.
Virtually impossible for me, a tiny little channel like me, to get in touch with anyone at YouTube. But yeah, point is, like, he will have had a really shitty day, and I hope that he takes a step back and go, man, that really didn't feel good to lose that. And then if he just takes a step and thinks about how bad he's made some other people feel, the torment and stress that he's brought into other people's lives when he makes fun of them, and sends his fans after people that criticize him and things like that. And I'll say that none of his fans are watching this, but I'll say this again: sends his fans after, asks them to do it, tells them to go and do it.
Ways to release anger. Seek help. Can you guys help me rip this guy apart?
Did not do that with Richard Benson?
No, he didn't do it with Richard Benson, but he's done it with a fair amount of people.
I can imagine.
Fair amount of people. He sent 100,000 people after some 16-year-old girl on YouTube because she said he sucked. Like, and then, you know, all these idiot fans are like, "Oh yeah, but he's just being funny. Like, he doesn't mean it." It's like, but you're still there doing it. You're still there, you know, ruining this girl's life. And I know
you're essentially a terrorist at that point.
It's so easy to look at something like that and go, well, this person that's being mobbed by people, like, they're just a name. They're just a screen, a face on a screen. So they're not a real person to me. But these are real people. And I'll say it to anyone watching this, because I've experienced it. I've just got fucking an iron will. I know what it's like to have thousands of people coming for you, right? And it is fucking, I said it on the last podcast, it's fucking exhausting, right? But like I said, I have an iron will, so I can deal with it. If you have no experience of that, it's beyond exhausting. Like,
the collective of the weaponized internet.
Yeah. When, I mean, KDH, he's a great channel, but like, let's not forget, he almost deleted his entire channel when he put his first Rob Chapman video up, because the abuse that he got from his fans, threats of violence, people trying to get his address, people like really trying to dox him and shit. Like, it was intimidating. It worried him.
And I think Rob still has to answer for that.
Yeah,
quite honestly, but he never will.
No, he never answer for anything. Will he?
Nope.
So
he'll be too busy blaming you.
Yeah. But beautifully, on that note, his channel hasn't grown in a year. So
it's funny that, isn't it? When your videos are literally not apologies. that's all you upload is not apologies. Okay.
So why don't we do some actual guitar related news?
Yes.
A couple of bits of guitar related news. Tragic one. Yngwie Malmsteen has announced a new album, Parabellum.
Tragic one.
Yeah.
I mean, it is tragic. He fires a gun in the studio and debuts a stunning new track as part of the headline there.
This makes me want to vomit, because I think it just highlights how sycophantic, and desperate even, the journalists are, news sites are. They have to put stunning new track in this because they desperately want to be on side with Malmsteen. You know, they want to, if there's an opportunity for an interview, they want that opportunity because they want the clicks. This is not a stunning track.
But that's always the same, and it's something I think you've been fighting without saying it openly all the time in the guitar and music community. Like, you can't say that everything is great, otherwise your opinion is invalid because you're not being honest.
Yep.
And we bang on about it. Integrity is very important. Very, very important. We wouldn't be in partnership with Daniel or with Perry and the guys at Ormsby, and that's Dead World Audio, were it not for the fact that we actually like their stuff. We've had hands-on experience, we've had experience with the people involved who have showed us good stuff. And also when they've had wee problems or whatever, they've been completely transparent. That to me speaks way more volumes than I can make a really good product, but I've got shitty customer service.
Yep.
And I'm not naming names or pointing any fingers. So I think my point probably is that people should be very conscious when reading these articles, because journalism and advertising are probably two very separate things.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is necessarily particularly Jonathan Horsley's actual opinion.
No.
Maybe it is. Not saying it.
Well,
he couldn't have that opinion.
He's got fucking ears, hasn't he?
Well, you know what? lots of people have got ears. People like party cannon. You can't hold that against them.
My experience of dealing with magazines, like working for magazines,
Yep.
working in editorial in magazines, is piece of gear comes in for review, gets given to somebody to
9.
review, and that person will either give it a... Well, no, because I'd seen like
Pardon me.
people want to give a piece of gear a 10 and then be told by the editor, well, we're going to pull that down to a 9 because, well, this company that advertises with us, we didn't give their product a 10. So they'll be quite annoyed if this product, if this company that isn't even advertising with us gets a 10 on their product. Yeah. Or
Always the same.
I'd reviewed things and wanted to give them like a 7. A 6 was unthinkable. You couldn't give us.
What's the point in a
6.
fucking review if you can't put an actual fucking honest number on it?
I know, and what I found is like you could go back and look at magazines I'd worked for, and if 10-point scale ones, every single review, every single piece of gear that gets reviewed will be an 8 or a 9, every single piece, because a 7 is insulting. You can't give someone a 7; they'll never advertise with us.
Aye, that's it. They'll
type
never
thing.
send us anything for review again.
Yeah.
You'll be burning bridges.
Yeah, and the worst thing is like having a piece of gear sent to you for review, and it go to somebody to review. Like, say a piece of gear comes to me to review, and I play around with it for a bit, and I go, this really isn't very good. Like, it's literally not a very good piece of gear.
Mm-hmm.
So you send a wee email off to the editor and go, okay, so I'm working on this, but just so you're in the know, I won't be giving it a good review. It's not good. It doesn't do its job very well.
Mm-hmm.
And the response to that isn't, okay, cool, I trust your judgment. The result of that is, okay, well, don't do the review. I'll find someone else that I can give it to that can find something positive to say about it.
Is this not almost exactly the same as when you were asked to interview Nita Strauss?
Yeah.
And you were like, why me?
Yeah.
What's the point? You
Yeah.
know that this is not going to end well.
It wasn't even that. It was more a case of like, maybe you're unaware, but this won't end well, and I can't take this one because I won't have anything positive that I can say. I won't.
You can't be objective.
I can't talk respectfully to someone that I don't respect.
That's fair. You can't separate your personal opinions from professional ones,
I
even
can't
if they
blow
align.
smoke up someone's ass and ask them questions about how how much of a trailblazer they are when I don't think they are, type thing. So back to the Malmsteen thing. Yeah, I wanted this album to have a joyous, spontaneous atmosphere. Well, it certainly has a spontaneous atmosphere.
It does, aye. Spontaneous timing.
Yeah, I
And
had
feel.
listened to the track. What is it called? It's called
Wolves at the Door.
at the Door.
I mean, to be fair, I had a wee listen as well because you went, have you heard the new Malmsteen track? He's got one out. And I was like, no. And he's like, mate. And you can kind of tell what someone's going to say to you but just based on the tone of a certain word. Mate.
Yeah.
And I would recommend everybody go and give it a listen for themselves. It's not the worst, but it certainly doesn't get any better from the intro. It seems to get worse.
Yeah, the guitar tone is dire.
The
The
drums sound
vocals-
really badly programmed.
Vocals are dire. I mean, they are real drums. The vocals are dire. The tuning on the vocals is dire. But the most offensive thing is just the timing inconsistencies. It's like a group of people. I'd even go as far as saying it sounds like it was recorded live in a room and it was the first take of the song type thing. And I don't even mean they'd rehearsed it beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Like the timing is all over the place. It's like a really uncomfortable vibe to it because nothing really feels like it locks in to the groove at any point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, to me, and he's a legend. He is a legend. Like him or not, Yngwie Malmsteen is a legend of the guitar. His contribution to the guitar, his contribution to the kind of drive of popularity of technique is legendary.
He is a virtuoso, and there's no way
Yeah.
to say otherwise. And his timing and his impact on the music community, never mind the guitar community. You're talking about friends of your mum's having fucking Yngwie Malmsteen CDs and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, you can't deny it. You can't, whether you like him or not.
Yeah.
He's there. It's just like, I don't like the Beatles.
Yeah.
But I would never be able to say the Beatles had no impact on music because it's just a fucking lie.
Yeah, I don't like Hendrix, but I can also happily acknowledge that Hendrix is one of the most important guitar players
Yes.
that ever lived. So yeah, you can't deny Malmsteen's relevance or importance during a certain period. But this is sad. This is tragic. Like it's embarrassing. I hate using the word, but it's embarrassing.
I think it's one of those things where we're speaking about Malmsteen obviously wanting to be head honcho and in charge of everything and doing everything his own way and not having anybody else and having any creative freedom or whatever, or any responsibility for the writing or the creative process. If this is the kind of output that he's going to have where it's him at the helm, maybe I'll reconsider. I don't mean that in any nasty way. Genuinely, I think this might be the sobering thing where he sees the fan base say, we love you, but you really, really
Nah,
need
man,
to
they've
do
been
better.
saying it. They've been saying it for years. They've been saying it for years. There was I made a flippant point years ago to some of my friends when I was still pirating the odd bit of music. My justification for
Kidding.
piracy at the time was I pirated when he released his album Love Songs, which was all songs written for April.
I love you.
I'm sure it's called Love Songs. Yeah, I pirated that thing, and it was so offensively bad that I deleted the downloaded files, right? And my argument for a good solid year after that is that's why piracy is a good thing, because it avoided me from wasting my money on this fucking dog turd. It's not like I didn't spend the money. I then went and spent that money on something else, an artist that was evidently a little bit more fucking deserving of it, because I think that Malmsteen has rested on his laurels for decades now.
Until Spotify and the YouTube music community and just the convenience that has come from streaming, I can agree with you. If you're the kind of person who did go out and support artists by buying CDs, but you maybe pirated before you got them because you weren't sure if you're going to like it or not, then I think that's just essentially a try before you buy. It's not perfect, but
No.
at the end of the day,
Yeah.
that artist is still having support.
Yeah.
And so the record label are still getting their cut. Greedy
Yeah.
bastards.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The logic was like,
why would I give it to somebody that I don't want their content?
well, it puts a level of pressure on the artist. Like, I can't just put out any old shit, because the way music had been for a very long time prior to that was you could literally just put out any old shit and people wouldn't know until they bought it. And this kind of removed all of that. Like, everything you put out now needs to be of a decent standard, because word will get around very quickly thanks to the communication of the internet, and people are going to be able to try it before they give you any money. So it's going to be harder to pull the wool over people's eyes, and wolves at the door. That's maybe he's put this out because he literally just has wolves at his door. Not literally. I hate it when
Debt
people
collectors.
misuse the word literally.
Literally get the wolves at the door, by the way.
Yeah,
That's a quite big one in Scotland, isn't it? Literally.
yeah, oh yeah,
No, but literally.
Yeah.
Literally done it.
Yeah.
Did he? Aye. Instead of figuratively.
yeah. Literally, I ran so fast my feet were on fire. And they were literally on fire.
So aye.
Right, fucking
I'm going to literally punch you in the jaw, and then you'll actually know what literally means.
fantastic. Also, and
I say it all the time as well, to be fair.
I hate terms like this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Just to trigger the libs. No, hang on, it would trigger the cons. I noticed when listening to that there was one of the lyrics in there, maybe a little bit of a political dog whistle.
Don't tread
Don't
me.
tread on me. Yeah. Yeah. So cool. Yeah. Good work. Good. I don't want to delete that one. We're still going.
Has Ingve ever really been political?
No,
That's
not
good.
as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, okay,
Not as
fair
far as
enough.
I'm aware.
I just think it'd be really strange to see him go hardcore political if that was what he was on about, or if he's maybe just taking that as part of these lyrics. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why the notion I'm ridiculing a little bit there is it would be easy for people to go, "Can you believe Malmsteen said don't tread on me?" I'm like, you motherfuckers, I don't think this man's been political once in his entire career, and you see him use a collection of words together, and suddenly he's trying to make a political statement. I don't think so.
The closest he came to a political statement, and I mean this is divisive, is saying he doesn't like fucking donuts. Because from that point onwards, I realised we didn't have the same views.
Oh, bless him. Oh, I did hear this. I can't reveal my source on this one, but it was somebody that had worked with people that work with Malmsteen,
Right.
not directly worked with Malmsteen. We mentioned the sideburns,
Yes.
and they help shape his face. Yeah. Apparently, they also hide lipo points
Right. Okay.
because it looked ghastly without them after he'd had some of that sucked out of his face.
So that's strange though, because
Purely
it's not.
speculation. What?
I just want to look at pictures of Malmsteen for like the 90s to 2000s to 2010s and stuff, but that's just really weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to something much better.
Yeah, it tickled me.
Wampler.
Wampler. Woo!
Beautiful. Love to see it.
Old friends Wampler.
I've never had any Wampler pedals, but I've tried a load of yours. Like you've got the Tumnus and what else have you got? The Paisley, the Ego compressor.
I don't have the Tumnus.
Do you not?
No, I don't.
I thought you did.
I use the faux spring reverb, the tape echo. I use the latitude tremolo pedal.
You may as well have the fucking Tumnus. You've got everything
I
else.
use the Ego compressor, the Paisley drive. I have the
Did you not have a dual fusion at one point?
Ecstasy. I've never had the dual fusion.
Have you not? Imagine rhyming the pedals you'd never
Yeah.
had.
I have the Brent Mason, the hot wired. Yeah, I've got a lot of Wampler pedals. I mean, I don't want to say am because I haven't dealt with them in a very long time. So let's go was. The relationship hasn't terminated, but it feels like was. I was a Wampler artist. So if you go on their website, I am listed as one of their artists. So I
That's
have an
nice.
artist profile on there. But as I say, I haven't had a relationship with them, like spoke to anyone over there for a very long time now, like probably 5 years. So this isn't sponsored in any way. Like we're just talking about this because this is cool, mainly because we like Andy Wood, right?
I mean, we also like Wampler's stuff, clearly.
Yeah.
So, yes, Wampler released the Andy Wood Gearbox Signature Overdrive. I love seeing that Andy's getting a lot of exposure these days. I didn't really know his name until I saw him doing... I don't remember what video it was. It was him playing something, but it was ridiculous.
Everything Andy plays is ridiculous.
I know, but it was like something genuinely outstanding. I don't remember what it was. It might have been maybe some Scotty Anderson.
No one plays Scotty Anderson. It's way too fucking hard to play Scotty Anderson.
What am I thinking of then? There was something that he played that was like, right, okay then, fair enough.
Oh, he did the I know what it was. He did a video of Brent Mason's Pick It Apart. Pick It Apart, which is a bastard of a solo.
That's it, and he just fucking nailed it, and you could see that he was loving every minute of it too.
Yeah, Andy's a phenomenal player, and not just as a solo player, because check out his solo music. His solo music is fantastic. I did the transcription book for Junktown, but before that he had Caught Between the Truth and a Lie, which is great, and his music is excellent. But I have all the time in the world for him because despite making a living and being a successful solo guitar player, he's also a great, like live session guy, like that gets hired for bands. And we're not talking all the same type of thing either. Like he was out with, I got to hang out with him and spend some time with him. I want to say recently, it was actually a good few years ago now, when he was touring the world with Scott Stapp. Which is a strange gig to have, but then he's also touring the world with Rascal Flatts, who are one of the biggest names in contemporary country music.
Life is a highway.
He's
That's a tune, by the way.
Andy's the real fucking deal.
Andy was actually in Cars.
He's one of the best pickers on the scene. Like full stop. Andy's alternate picking technique is phenomenal. Anyway, let's
I've never had any real personal interactions with him, but everything I've ever seen online, he's always been super humble and really nice and friendly and super knowledgeable. So that speaks volumes for me. Wampler has unveiled a signature overdrive pedal for the bluegrass, rock and country shredder Andy Wood. The gearbox takes two classic Wampler circuits and houses them into one enclosure, offering a versatile 2-channel setup that lets you fully explore both flavours of drive. On the right-hand side of the enclosure, you'll find Wampler's Tumnus overdrive, occupying channel 1, has controls for tone, gain and level arranged triangularly. The left-hand side of the pedal houses channel 2, where you'll find controls for Wampler's Pinnacle overdrive and distortion. The Tumnus is the sort of drive you could use as a boost, something to punch the front end of your amplifier with, and that tone sing a little. I'm guessing it says make that tone sing a little. It's supposed to be what it says, but apparently not. It's still up a wee bit, sorry. It's okay. It also works gangbusters for adding a little heat to your signal, with many players choosing to leave it as their always-on pedal. A seasoning, really. A little salt and spice to lift your tone. I think the person that's tried to write this has been, I don't know, maybe they've had a couple of wines before it or something.
Jonathan Horsley.
There is nothing wrong with having a couple of different drives in the same enclosure.
Yep.
Because the versatility that it offers is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of it. One of the coolest things about the Tumnus was how stackable it was. After all, this was a drive that was inspired by the Klon Centaur. The meeting of Wampler and Wood's minds has not missed an opportunity to let both sides of the gearbox interact the way you might set up a Tumnus and Pinnacle if they were standalone pedals. A handy little toggle switch lets you run the Tumnus into the Pinnacle or vice versa. So you can choose the order in which they run for gain stacking.
Yep.
Very clever.
Yep.
That is fucking tremendous. This idea of mixing and matching is taken further by two sets of inputs and outputs that can be hooked up to an external switch to run the drives in parallel or series. What more could you want from an overdrive? Well, technically it's two overdrives, and while it won't make you play like Andy Wood, more's the pity, it will give you options, lots of options, from what looks to be one of the most interesting drive pedals we've seen this year. The Andy Wood Gearbox Signature Overdrive is built in the USA, takes a 9-volt DC power supply or battery, and retails at $269.97.
Is it correct that it takes a battery?
I don't know. I would think it probably need 2 batteries. Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Click on Wampler's site. Let's have a look. I really, really like the idea of that, having two different types of overdrive or gain staging, but you can actually pick the order they go in one box.
Yeah, it's
super
functionally
clever.
what Tom Quayle's dual fusion pedal did years ago. Tom's dual fusion was just the Wampler Euphoria and the Paisley drive in one enclosure. They've not got it on their website yet, so
Is it not over there yet?
yeah, head on over to Wampler's website for more information. But there's no more information.
There will be soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, good on Andy. You know, like I say, he deserves it. He's Andy's a great player. I love him dearly. Yeah, so
Yes,
well done, sir. You deserve it.
big yeses.
He has a signature compressor pedal with Sir that I would love to get my hands on as well.
Ooh.
So yeah, and I love when I did my video on signature guitars that I'd love to own, I had to put his Telecaster in there because I love his Telecaster.
I don't think I've seen Andy Wood's Telecaster.
Oh,
You going to
okay.
show me?
Let's bring this up.
You've got to. I know you've got to. For those that are listening, apologies. You can't see it. Go Google it yourself.
Why did I put Sir Classic T? Let's go.
It's because you're a big sausage. Guitars, signature guitars. Matthias Asato? Maybe signature Sir? I mean, that's pretty classy. Can't really deny that, can we?
I didn't mean to click that.
Wow.
Why is it taking me to the Matthias Asato?
Because it was the first link and it's clicked on it.
Okay, guitars, signature, Andy Wood, modern T.
I must admit that Matthias Asato was fucking gorgeous.
Oh
aye.
Yeah. So,
Aye. With a fucking trem.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the Blacktop Telecaster that Kieran's got.
Yeah. This is like a 24 fret modern 2 humbucking Telecaster. It's not really a Telecaster in any way, shape, or form.
I didn't even notice it 24 frets.
Yeah,
you know what it reminds me of? See the Wirebirds?
Yeah.
Wirebird Contour. That's like a Telecaster shape, but everything else is modern.
Yeah.
Oh,
Andy,
you big dirty.
Yeah, and you can also get the this is like a whiskey barrel one as well, which is
gorgeous,
kind of cool. Let's go through these.
Yes, let's do. Oh,
but it's this one. It's this black one with the kind of. It's like
it's John 5 as fuck.
Yeah, it's John 5 as fuck.
It's definitely up your street.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's a Levi favourite.
Yeah. So
would you have the trem or would you have the hardtail with the ashtray?
I'd have a trem.
You would?
Yeah, I'd have that guitar, like exactly that guitar, because
it's banging.
It's a Telecaster, like I say, in terms of look and look only.
Even look at the heel cut. Like it would have been on screen a wee second ago. Look how clean that is to give you way more access into those top frets.
There's probably if I go through this, there'll probably be a
shot at the back.
Shot at the back.
Even for that other angle, though, that gave you a really good idea of the contour that goes into it. Apparently, we don't get a look at it, Andy, but that's all right. Don't worry, we're not wanting to look at it. It's all right.
Yeah, it's all right. So it's not like you're trying to sell guitars to people, Sir John.
Sir John boy. I mean, it's not as if they actually need to worry too much about advertising them. People just take the fucking horn off them for them.
Yeah. Oh,
fair enough. I know, it's a fucking stonker.
Can I? Oh, okay. So you can. Yeah, that's actually quite a good system for specking out. You know what the guitar would look like. And did the prices change accordingly, or are they all just?
That's a street price. It'll be different actually when it gets to retail.
So
yes, good on you, Andy. Well done, mate. We expect 2 Andy Wood Sewers to land here, as well as 2 of the drives. Thanks.
Yeah.
Obviously, they'll get 9 out of 10. And if I try and write any lower than that, Levi will tell me that we need to get somebody else to review it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do another quick one. So, Sarah Longfield. We like Sarah Longfield, right?
Yes. She doesn't seem to be getting an easy time of it.
No. Well, this is a weird one. So Sarah Longfield got an email. Hello, Miss Longfield. I am the owner of SarahLongfield.com. Would you be interested in trading a guitar for the domain? I hope you are doing well. J.S. John Smith.
I know, John Smith. Well, what an uncommon name that would be easy to trace.
Yeah.
John Smith, if you are watching this, you're not just a guitar soul, you are a cunt.
I wouldn't even go that far because actually, in the grand scheme of things, I can see why somebody might try and do something like this. But more and more you are seeing artists, people that have run online businesses not having a .com, not needing a .com. I have a LeviClay.com, you know.
You used to do your vlogs on it.
Yeah.
And your posts.
But I've not updated it in years because it just doesn't really serve all that much purpose anymore.
Social media's there already.
Yeah, people want to go to somewhere that's integrated. And you see big bands, and I don't want to say any that spring to mind, but in my time of doing research in bands and writing articles on bands, there have been times where I've gone, okay, let's go to the website and find more information. And you click the website and it takes you to their Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And the .com literally will just redirect to the Twitter or whatever. So it is becoming more and more common to not even want a .com.
Mm-hmm.
But Sarah posted about this on Facebook, and yeah, everybody pointed out the same thing to her, which is what this guy is doing here is illegal. Not just illegal from a, because it's not really blackmail. Like back in the day, this was quite common. Like it was very opportunistic for people to.
It still happens. People will take like Twitter handles and then try and make money off them.
Yeah, but
It's essentially intellectual property scalping.
yeah, I can't give you the exact US law for it, but this is protected now.
It'll be protected under like kind of copyright because that's not his name.
Yeah,
I would imagine. Would that
Yeah.
be right? Because
It's,
then you are misrepresenting yourself.
is it? I believe it's called domain squatting. It's called
Right.
domain squatting,
That's a good. I like that term.
which is yeah, like unless this character's name literally is Sarah Longfield, like he's clearly just squatting on the domain for the potential of commercial gain.
Mm-hmm.
And generally speaking, in cases like you see stories of, there was a guy just recently that bought Google's
Argentina.
Argentina, yeah, and he paid $2 for it. Now he no longer owns that domain, and everyone's like, "Oh, I wonder how much money he got out of Google for that." He didn't get a penny from that.
He
Like,
didn't even get his $2 back
exactly.
because it was an opportunistic, selfish, horrible
Yeah.
grab. And if you think you're going to take on a mega corporation like Google and make money, you stupid,
Yeah.
you big stupid.
There have been people in the past that absolutely have managed to make money doing this type of thing.
Mhm. But
But
companies have got wise to it. It's the same as well, I suppose that it's not quite the same. I know that with internet security, Google now pay people if they hand in day zero exploits, and they'll be like,
Right.
if you can tell us security flaws that we've got, we will pay you for it.
sure,
So rather than people just using the exploits or trying to sell them off to the highest bidder.
yeah. So I wasn't happy to. Though having said this, like I think he's misvalued his offer here. Would you be interested in trading a guitar for the domain? SarahLongfield.com is not worth. Was she playing Strandberg still?
Mm-hmm.
She got a signature
Yeah,
Strandberg.
it's got signature Strandbergs. It's the
Um,
black one with the kind of multicoloured, almost like it's like thermal.
Yeah, yeah. I see it in my mind.
Mhm.
So yeah, like the SarahLongfield.com is not worth the value of one of those guitars. It's just simply not worth the value of one of those.
Mhm.
In the same way that like LeviClay.com is, I don't know how much I pay for that, like $20. Like it's not worth anything. And I
Yes.
know people are going to say, yeah, but you're not as valuable as Sarah Longfield. Well, I have product. I have a lot of product out there that's available, and I make my living from selling books and DVDs and things. Like I wouldn't be able to make a living if somebody took over all my brands, took over my name as their own brand type thing. But still, my domain isn't worth anything in the
That's
grand scheme of things. So
That's not a distribution or advertising network that you really need to utilise. You've already got social media. You've already got the partners that you work with.
Yeah.
Like it would be nice if you were that important that your website was a big thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm
Party Cannon don't have a website.
no, don't need one.
Exactly. But with social media, that's all you need as a band these days. Since MySpace, websites for bands are pretty much defunct. You've got a place where you can find everything about the band. You can interact with them. You can book them. You can listen to their music.
Yep.
You can interact with fans. You can. What's the point of a website?
Yeah.
Really, it's just cost.
Well, I mean, the benefits would be like having a dedicated place where you can have a store.
Yeah, I get that.
That'd be
Totally.
one of the perks.
Oh, they got one.
But,
Bandcamp,
yeah,
and then Big Cartel.
take way too much Bandcamp. People love Bandcamp. People love fucking Bandcamp. Like I constantly see it. Like they're like, oh well, if you buy an artist's music on Bandcamp, that's the same as you streaming their music every day for 2 years or whatever. Like this is the way to support bands, and it's like, sure. But when we were looking to do, Guitar Souls bonus episodes, and we wanted to launch like a VIP thing on there, they were taking like 20%, maybe 25% of the money that we would make, and they offered us nothing in return for that 25%. We
Mhm.
could upload audio files. That was it. Patreon takes 5%, and I can upload. I can anything. File downloads,
Pictures
video,
of my Willie.
pictures of my willy. You want
Mhm.
pictures of my willy? Head on over to my Patreon.
No,
I'm
you
not
shouldn't.
suggesting that you'll actually get pictures of my willy, but if you book a private lesson and you want to look at my willy, maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you my willy.
Got to use your cock as a bar.
Yeah, it's not. It's really not. It's not worth the $50. I'll be honest. So yeah,
It's not worth the $50.
No. This issue doesn't even need to be resolved because, as I say, Sarah doesn't even need her her.com.
It was interesting to see her bring it up though and be like, has anybody else ever had to deal with this kind of bollocks?
Yeah.
It's mad. It's fucking mad.
Well, I appreciate that she brought it up because it's I think way too much industry stuff is kept behind closed doors. And if people were more open and talked about stuff like this, you would find it's like, I know you're a big believer in this idea of like people should be encouraged to discuss their wages.
Oh, absolutely.
We shouldn't keep stuff like that behind closed doors.
If you're in the working class, absolutely.
It's exactly that. Like, people should share all this information. People should know. Like, if I was in a band that was playing festivals, I would have no problem telling people what our booking fee was for that festival.
Mm-hmm.
And I would hope everybody else would do the same, because that's helpful for us to make sure that we're not getting ripped off, being taken advantage of, and it's helpful for people up and coming in the industry. Because one of the first things that you learn as a self-employed person, I'm dealing with it at the moment. Like I'm pitching Murray Pringle's EP, which is a great EP. I'm doing the transcriptions for that,
Mm-hmm.
and I always feel bad because I know how much my prices are. Like, I'm not deciding how much I'm worth, but I know when I started out in this industry, there was a lot of like, the hardest thing is telling people how much you think you're worth.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it's so hard to tell people how much you think you're worth is because you don't know. And the reason you don't know is because everybody else keeps it secret. Like, there's no reason to keep it secret. My prices are all put up for anybody to see.
Remember, they were put on by that guy online who claimed all sorts of mad shit. Remember him?
Levi,
Levi, you said you were going to do this, and you were just like, "Here's a screenshot of the exact conversation. What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And you're like,
John's wasn't
"Stop seizing on the keyboard, please."
John someone or other. Yeah. Apparently went off and did a polygraph to prove that he was telling the truth.
It's
Like,
good.
you don't need to prove that you're telling the truth. You need to prove that I'm lying, and I've provided the evidence that you're lying. Just because you passed the polygraph, which are nonsense anyway, absolute fucking nonsense anyway. You can pass a polygraph even if you haven't learned how to beat a polygraph, because you can genuinely believe what you're saying is the truth. Just because you genuinely believe that you're telling the truth, it doesn't mean that you're actually telling the truth.
A polygraph just measures your reactions in terms of heart rate, pulse, blood pressure, etc. It's watching for reactions.
Yeah.
It's all about the operator asking the questions and digging into stuff and basically making you feel like you should be doubting yourself so they can continue lines of inquiry. Simple as that. It is pseudoscience at best. And if you clench your asshole at the right point, any question could be asked of you and you can pass it.
Yep. If
you can pass a lie detector by squeezing your bum, then it doesn't detect lies. Simple as fucking that. It infuriates me that people think this is a real thing.
That's
You need to do a polygraph. Right, call it a polygraph if you want. Please don't call it a lie detector, because we all know that's
Sure.
bollocks.
It's very much an American thing. You wouldn't see that over here. Because I don't want to say we're more educated, because evidently we're not. We're bumbling fucking idiots as well. But
Maybe it's better to say that we have a less psychologically abusive governments and police enforcement. Is that fair?
I don't know. I'd say it's pretty bad over here too. The only difference is our police force aren't armed.
Oh, you got a license for that talking license?
Though, speaking of, there's a nice segue here. Speaking of This Is America.
Look at him. He's a
Made in
fucking
America.
wizard, isn't he?
Childish Gambino sued for copyright infringement over This Is America. Now, look, guys, I appreciate this isn't strictly guitar-related news, but
It's
you know how we
music.
love talking about music industry stuff. We love talking about copyright. We love talking about legal stuff, even though we are, disclaimer, not lawyers.
Yes, and we've probably got some really hot takes that wouldn't make it very nice in a courtroom. But
Yeah, Childish Gambino. So, why don't you give us a wee swatch of this, Mike?
Childish Gambino, aka Donald Glover, has already faced accusations of plagiarism for This Is America, with many pointing out similarities between the 2018 Childish Gambino hit and Jace Harley's 2016 track American Pharaoh. And now he's getting sued by another artist who's also claiming that This Is America rips off their song. TMZ reports, and that's always a really bad sign, TMZ reports that
Well, this is just creating like a Mortal Kombat style tournament where, you know, if they both beat Childish Gambino in court, then they're going to have to fight each other to the death to see who stole whose song originally.
plagiarism-tality.
Yeah.
TMZ reports that Emelike Nosukoa, I'm guessing is how you say it, probably nowhere near it, the rapper who goes by the name Kid Wes, is suing Glover for copyright infringement, arguing that the hook, flow and lyrics in This Is America are unmistakably substantially similar, if not practically identical, to his own 2016 track Made in America. Unfortunately for Kid Wes, his brain and ears don't work. Wes compared the lyrics, "This is America, guns in my area, I got the strap, I got to carry him," to his song, "Made in America, flex on the radio, made me a terrorist, pessimistic N-words." I feel like fucking Ben Shapiro with that wet-ass P-word. Sorry, so I'll say that line. So, "Made in America, flex on the radio, made me a terrorist, pessimistic N. You should just cherish this." See, I always say ninja, but I'm also really conscious that might be a bit too close.
And could also be offensive to people of Asian heritage.
Why?
I don't know. Be suggesting that all Asian people are ninjas? I don't know.
Are
You just have to be very careful, okay?
Okay,
You
right.
never know.
I don't think I would say that ninja is in the same scope as the word that we're trying to avoid, but okay. He is suing Glover, the co-writers of This Is America, the record labels that put it out, Rock Nation and Young Thug, who sings backup vocals in the track, for damages. It says compare the two songs below on this, which is stereogum.com, and Levi and I compared it, and my hot take is, before I get your opinion on it, because we did talk about it earlier, but I'd like to really rant on this.
Okay.
You cannot claim a tiny piece of rhythm that millions of artists have used in nearly similar song themes as unmistakable, substantially similar, if not practically identical to your own track. It's just not true. They are clearly separate. There is a rhythm that's fairly similar in the structure.
I'd go identical, but it's not unique enough for it to matter. It's
Of course
triplets
not, it goes-
starting on the second beat of a bar.
Da, da,
1,
da, da,
2,
da.
3, 4,
Da,
1.
da,
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 da, da, da, da. Da, 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 da. You can't own that with an accent on 3, of course. But of course, you'd expect to put an accent on 3 because that's where a backbeat would hit. So it's a natural thing. I get it.
Is
I
that
do
not
get
like a slow purdy shuffle?
No,
Is it not?
I don't believe so.
Fuck you then.
I see the lyrics are irrelevant. I get, like, all right, This Is America and Made in America are both songs that are critical of the American government.
You
and
better sue
policing.
American Idiot then.
Yeah.
You better go and get Green Day.
Um,
Who else sung about America? Hulk Hogan.
yeah. Brilliant. Adding in the
Get me in court, brother.
the lyrics thing, I just throw this out, but it's really, you'd never see this argument of flow if you were like, you never see when Led Zeppelin often hauled up in court for things. You never see people claiming flow.
That's because they just generally do steal songs, though.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in any accusatory manner, but let's be honest, most of their back catalogue are folk songs that don't have credits to who the real owner is or the writer.
So flow is a weird concept to me as something to try and claim ownership of, because I think that any consistent rhythm has flow to it, and nobody can own a series of quarter notes, nobody can own a series of eighth notes, etc. When we were looking at that fucking Katy Perry lawsuit, which Adam Neely kindly pointed out, you can't own descending the scale played at quarter notes, but someone tried to own it. The issue with this is, like, obviously a lawyer has taken this on, and they'll take it on because all you need to do is you need to convince a jury, right? And all you need to do to convince a jury who aren't musicians is hold up a piece of paper and say, this is the notation for Made in America. You'll notice there's a rest here, followed by 3 triplets, followed by a rest, with an accent on the third one. Here's a transcription of This Is America. It's exactly, you can see, jury, you can see these are identical. And when when something like that is presented to you from the perspective of this person is a musical expert, that will sway people in a jury, and that is horseshit. That's absolute horseshit, and that was what was pointed out in the Katy Perry case, because a musical expert had the nerve to stand up in court and try and convince a jury that descending a scale from the root note is a unique musical device.
It's more a unique way for him to make money.
Exactly. The whole fucking system is corrupt, which is wonderful, actually, when you think about the concept of these songs. It's about the horseshit that is the system of the elite, and copyright. I'm obviously very pro copyright, I was actually Yavor sent me a really interesting video which I should pass on to you, where it was somebody arguing for the abolition of the public domain. And I agreed with some of his points and disagreed with some of his other points.
Okay.
The point is, there's obviously a lot of discussion around the concept of copyright, something I'm passionate about, something I ardently defended in last episode. But in this particular example, copyright is something that I will defend when somebody can demonstrate ownership of an idea of intellectual property. And this is just too bland.
Yep.
I'll go one further. You shouldn't want to take ownership of this. If you're standing up tall and going, I own these two triplets placed next to each other, you should be embarrassed, sir, because your contribution is so bland.
And overdone already. It's not new.
Yeah.
It's not fancy. This is more than likely would have been whoever the fuck Kid Wes knows, or a random lawyer has went, you've got a case here and we can make you money. There's no way he's went out, considering this song was out 2016, he said, and This Is America was, 2017 maybe, around about the same time. They're not going to wait 5 years to go, well, actually, we should take this to court.
Yeah.
Come on, you know what I mean?
Well, the other thing to consider is always opportunity, isn't it? Like, if we put out a song that was almost identical to Kid Wes' actual song, he's not going to come after us because there's no opportunity there. Donald Glover is an incredibly wealthy man, and I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's very charismatic.
Incredibly talented.
Yeah.
You heard him singing, like really singing?
Yeah. Melissa's a big fan.
No wonder.
So
Redbone's tremendous.
Yeah. So yeah, I like him. I don't like This Is America. It surprised me that song was as popular as it is, because I just don't see the appeal.
I think it's a song that's made up of pretty much all the parts that make up popular songs, and it's almost like a kind of big mashup, taking the piss out of it, but at the same time kind of exposing what it is.
Yeah.
The amount of times I've watched the music video and people have been like, have you seen this? Did you notice this? Did you notice that? There's so much, there's so many layers to it.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably going to be quite a long time before everybody really gets all the layers that come from it.
Let's move on and talk about Patreon.
So much for us not knowing if we had enough content. We must be about 2 hours now.
We're an hour and 20 minutes.
Nice. So, While She Sleeps, they are a hardcore band? Pop?
Absolutely
I don't know. Metalcore. Sheffield metalcore band, While She Sleeps. When I saw this, I was like, this is fucking mental. But I also understand it.
Well, the thing I take with this story is it's, and I probably shouldn't do this before we do the story, but I will. It's somebody at the BBC has gone, oh wow, look at this. People are actually like paying a monthly subscription to follow content creators that they like. Like, this isn't news.
No, of course not.
Some of the BBC has just seen this and gone, wow, this is news. This isn't news. Go on.
I think it's the spin on it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's called the Sleep Society. I mean, I would probably fall asleep listening to metalcore too. And over the course of the year, Melody and Greg are planning to spend over £1,000 each to be part of it. They both admit it takes a huge chunk out of their budgets, but they're also both adamant it's totally worth it. They're two of over 2,000 members, fans who pay a monthly fee and in return get access to exclusive content from Sheffield metalcore band While She Sleeps.
That's so being presented as this is unique. You know what I mean?
It's just a Patreon, isn't
It's nothing new. Go on.
And the band are convinced they're onto something.
Copying
Of
what
course
everybody
they are.
else does.
When there's two people giving you more than £1,000 a year, I would think I was onto fucking something. Dicks. In an age where making money directly from music is getting harder, they say they've created a sustainable model that the rest of the industry could follow. You have used another platform in exactly the same way that it's supposed to be used. You can't claim that's your idea. The subscription model is actually nothing new, but up until now it's mainly been used by YouTubers and podcasters, guitarist Matt Welsh tells Radio 1 Newsbeat.
Not even close to true.
Streaming is an amazing tool. You can get 1 million songs at your fingertips, but in the same breath, it's kind of devalued music.
Agree.
Okay. So, well, the people that were making the deals, as we were talking about in the last episode and before, are the ones that have devalued it.
Sure.
But we'll get back to that. So we thought we'd encourage people to stream, but also help fund and support the music that's being made. It's almost like getting all of our fans to become shareholders of the band. No, it isn't, because they won't make any money back. That's a really stupid way to look at it, because they'll expect dividends if they're shareholders.
Yeah.
You're not going to give them anything back except the music that they're helping to pay for. That's not dividends. The Sleep Society has 4 tiers. The cheapest, at $4.99 a month, gets you exclusive video content, access to an online community, and priority when buying tour tickets. The most expensive, at $59.99 per month, Gets you all of the above, along with merchandise, a personalised video message from the band, free entry to a gig, and the chance to watch them soundcheck beforehand.
Just for clarification, what's $59.99 times 12? Let's go easy. What's 60 times 12?
720 quid?
720 quid a year. So these people in this interview aren't paying over £1,000 a year each.
Unless they add extra.
This is the most expensive tier.
Can you not tip or anything on it?
I mean, if you're paying a band $59.99 a month, like...
I'm just going by the information. I think they're fucking stupid to pay 60 quid for free entry to a gig. No. £60 a month, you should be getting tickets to the gig included. That's not free. You're paying for it.
Yeah.
Merchandise, you're paying for it. A personalised video message, you really shouldn't be paying for that, but that's entirely up to you. You value that at.
Yeah.
And a chance to watch them soundcheck beforehand, that's probably more an inconvenience for the venue manager than it is the band.
Yeah.
Although, at least it's not as bad as the pay to be a roadie. Who was it that done that again?
I think a few people have done that. And
Really? Like, you know what I mean? It's just give us money and be our labour. No thanks. The top tier is a lot of money for anyone, especially a cash-strapped student like Greg. But even though he admits it's up there with his biggest expenses, he's got no plans to leave anytime soon. When the Sleep Society was announced, I didn't really need to think about it. I just went with it because I knew money was going into something I'm passionate about, he says. And respect him in that.
we're big advocates of that.
Oh, I support bands as well.
creators.
Good. Aye,
So-
I think that the issue that both of us have actually is that this article paints these as trailblazers
Yeah.
rather than going Patreon.
Yeah.
What? GoFundMe?
Yeah.
Okay. He's from Alva in Clackmannanshire. Fucking Scotland! And studying graphic design at university, but makes time at weekends to meet up with other society members. It's more than just going down, buying merch and seeing the band. It's about meeting people who have got same investment and same level of interest as you. There are genuine friendships that have been born from this.
I didn't realise you needed to pay for that. All you guys that are doing the Monday Night Guitar Geek Club, I think you could all sit in a pub and have a great time, right? But it would be so much better if you were giving us $59.99 a month. So
Chris Locke has actually set the amount that you have to pay to be a member. He's the only member so far.
Yeah.
So
head on over to buymeacoffee.com.
no, as we've said before, there's no such thing as paywalls in this stuff. I know we were giving an
Yeah.
extra episode for people that want to subscribe, but that's only if you want the extra episode. If you want to see Levi being tortured, then obviously you can, and we'll try our best never to have paywalls anywhere near
Yeah.
this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, Melody, who's 25 and from Swansea, is a top tier member too. I'm a musician myself, and the Sleep Society has given me access to tutorials and vocal sessions with the band. She says, you don't get that anywhere else. It's incredible. And nobody does voice lessons, you're right.
I know. Yeah.
There's no such thing as teachers, no music teachers, no schools, no independence. I love Spotify. It's great, but it's no good for bands. I would encourage as many people as I can. If there's one band that means so much to you and they've got these sort of platforms, you need to go out and support them.
She's right and she's wrong. Like, your problem there is you said if there's one band. When you take that attitude, you are going to have a split of people where their one band will be Metallica, and you'll have a split, or Stevie, their one band will be Metallica, and then you'll have people like you that are super, super into a smaller niche band. I'm wearing a Thank You Scientist t-shirt. I'd absolutely support those guys on something like this because I love them that much. But
guys
if
as
you're
well.
just focusing on
Good
one
people.
band, it doesn't get spread out. You're $59.99, like 2,000 people paying $59.99. They're not all paying $59.99, but let's say it's $59.99 a month. That's this band doing really fucking well, but then all the other bands just still trying to rely on Spotify. And because you're giving this band $59.99 a month rather than giving all of the bands £5, most people struggle while one band is successful.
I get it, but at the same time, we can't really police how people spend their own money.
Oh yeah, I'm not.
But you're right with
not-
talking about the
yeah.
not supporting bands and
It's just-
Spotify not being good for them. It's a you think you're doing well and you're for that band, but for the music scene in general, it's unsustainable. There's the best way to put it. The music, the structure of payments for musicians is unsustainable.
Yeah,
just leave it at that. I think for me.
Yep.
So support from the likes of Greg and Melody has allowed While She Sleeps to record and release their new album and to rehire their touring crew who'd been out of work because of the pandemic. That's good.
Yeah.
Can't really disagree with that. That's fantastic. Also means they're completely independent of any record label, and Matt's convinced it's a model the rest of the industry could follow. We've got just over 2,000 members, which is about 1% of our Instagram following, and that makes us sustainable. So it's not about asking every fan of our band or people who just listen to us every now and again to sign up. It's talking to the core audience who really, really depend on a band and listen to them all the time. And it's almost like if everyone does that with their super fans, then those super fans make it possible for everyone who wants them to listen. Or sorry, it makes it possible for everyone else who wants to listen.
Yep.
It's just about the power of a small group.
Yep. So totally on board with the message, but please stop trying to take credit for it, because you are not trailblazers in this respect.
But
It's
respect the hustle.
literally what we do. It's literally what we're doing. It's literally what my Patreon does. It's literally what every single content creator's Patreon does. And sure, you acknowledge that it's usually YouTubers that do these types of things, but more and more bands are becoming YouTubers. Like you're not blazing any trails here. Yeah. Good luck to you though, sir. Good luck to you, sirs. And yeah, I'm all for people being free of record labels and stuff like that. And I'm all for engaging with fans. The only thing I would say, don't take advantage of people. $59.99 feels a bit steep.
I don't know if it's taking advantage. Let's be honest. It's a
You
free
know
market.
that people that, well, yeah, sure, but you know that people are going to go above and beyond if they can. If you call these people, your closest super fans, there's like that level of desperation to be close to someone. But it's putting a paywall, right? If you want to engage with us in this level, you need to pay X. It's like we would absolutely look at big bands that charge for VIP meet and greet type things and go, you're taking the piss a bit there, aren't you?
Well, Kiss.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
That I would say take advantage.
But they're also not a small band, and it's not that they're short of money. They're just greedy.
Yeah.
Or capitalising, if we want to be politically correct.
Yeah. So run your business however you like. I think £30 would probably be. You probably get more sign-ups at £30.
Well, see what happens. So speaking of political correctness, a nice hot take from Glenn Danzig. He says
Terrible
that
take.
the modern punk explosion won't happen due to cancel culture and woke bullshit.
I would just like to point out, I'll cite the meme that had been going around alongside this article. Literally 2 weeks ago, a black gay man got everybody up in arms because he gave the devil a lap dance.
Yep, and
That's pretty punk.
the best reply I've saw so far is him basically just saying die mad about it, and then somebody else being like, right, okay, well Jesus can have a lap dance too, now everybody gets one, what are you angry about now? You know what I mean? Like pick an argument, a good one.
Yeah.
Anyway, Glenn was quoted as saying there won't be any new bands coming out like that now, they will immediately get cancelled. Just before we even read any further,
Well, I don't even think we need to fucking read it.
we don't, right? The fact of the matter is, people with bad opinions and dangerous opinions and shitty takes will definitely get cancelled. It's also known as being held accountable for shitty takes. I'm not saying that isn't always the case, or that is always the case, sorry. Some people do get the fucking, it is a bit mad and we're diving down people's throats because mob mentality and...
Oh, at least you're acknowledging that cancel culture exists. My favourite is watching people going, cancel culture isn't a thing.
Of course it does. It's your heart in the right place and your brain in the wrong one.
Fair way.
You're trying to protect people. Same as talking about like safe spaces and stuff, right? Like it's not conducive to the modern society to basically police people on what they can and cannot say.
Yep.
But it's definitely conducive to modern society to hold people accountable for what they say.
Yep.
You want to say something? Fucking say it, but don't expect me not to punch you right in the mouth if it's not fucking terrible.
I mean, I'll stop you there. Yeah, I should expect you to not assault me for saying something bad.
It's definitely, I mean in the
I
most
know.
extreme situations. I don't mean as in you going like, well, I still don't like Buckethead. And me being like, you know what I mean? It's not quite that extreme. I'm not wielding butter knives at you or anything over who likes what band.
I'm just cycling through the obvious things to say when I read this. But
I like how Glenn's talked about woke bullshit. Like, you wrote a song that was about raping somebody's mum and killing their dog.
punk has always been about being woke, has it not? It's been anti-establishment. It's been about trying to make the world a better place.
Yep.
It's been about standing up to oppressive governments. When you think of the Sex Pistols and that massive explosion of punk popularity that came from that, listen to a song like God Save the Queen, like, that was inherently woke bullshit.
Isn't it such a shame that Johnny Rotten is a complete fucking Tory sellout these days? Butter adverts. You fucking turncoat piece of shit.
But this is, I think...
Forgot your fucking roots.
But is this not what we're seeing with Glenn Danzig here? Like, I think that, not always, but often, a lot of the time, just comes with age. You're young, you're full of piss and vinegar, you whinge about the government, you want to change things, you do your best to change things, and then a new generation of people come along and they want to change things away from how you've managed to make things be, and you don't like the way that they were changing things. Things were better in my day. And it's that sad realization of looking in the mirror and going, I have become my parents, I have become my grandparents, because it was better in my day. You're literally saying it was better in my day. It was better in my day. And back in your day, with the punk explosion being very anti-establishment, you were standing up to people that were saying, no, it was better in my day. You're embarrassing yourself. There is so much going on in terms of cultural change, cultural shift. How is, let's go Black Lives Matter, anything other than inherently punk? In nature, you know what I mean? How? I don't get it. I don't get it. It makes absolutely no sense to me. This is really just coming out against what society as a whole generally talks about being positive change. His woke bullshit is what we would call positive change.
Here's a good question, right? Has Glenn Danzig got new music coming out?
Probably. Let's have a look.
Discussing his new vampire spaghetti western film.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Glenn. Shut the actual fuck up. You're releasing a stupid fucking film and you're whinging that people don't have creative freedom. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Really, if anything, if woke bullshit and cancel culture really existed, people would say, which they probably did in the 80s and the 90s, talking about PMRC and stuff, this is promoting anti-Christian views, and you should be cancelled for this.
Yep. But
yet you can still make this shitty, no doubt, fucking vampire spaghetti western.
Yeah, we could think of numerous artists over the years being hauled up in court for the music that they've made. What you mean cancel culture? And well, I'm not denying that cancel culture is a thing, because it absolutely is, and it makes me sick to my stomach. And I'm not denying that there is a horrible trend of let's see who can out-woke. Let's see who can be the most woke. Can have the most woke takes. I get that.
Can you honestly just imagine if half of the people who go so fucking tonto on the internet over this stuff were even remotely politically active and held shitty politicians, governments and councils to account in the same manner?
Here he goes.
But I'm just being serious. I think this is a really misguided and misappropriated force of anger.
No, I think that, and this, you won't like this take, but I think that a view like that is inherently in line with your anti-sectarianism views and anti-football views, because when someone points out that the SNP have been in power in Scotland for 14 years and they've done fuck all, people are still going to champion them, because it still comes down to, but my team won.
I don't think so, not in my part.
You're
But
a big supporter of the SNP.
No, I'm not.
You don't like the SNP?
It's not that I don't like them. I'm not a big supporter. They have a lot of things they need to fix.
Yeah.
A lot of things their approach towards the drug deaths in Scotland are abysmal.
Yeah.
Education is slipping. They haven't answered the questions on independence that people are asking. But I would rather take we don't have the answers and being a bit vague and needing to make improvements over other parties that genuinely would rather just strip the assets away than get it wrong and try and get it right. So it's not that I think the SNP are to be championed. There will be people out there that do.
A lot of people.
Of course there are, right? There's a reason the SNP have won the majority in Scotland, or nearly won the majority in Scotland. They definitely won the most seats. It's because people see them as being the best for Scotland. That doesn't mean they are the best for Scotland of every option. They're the best of Scotland of what we've currently got, and that is not a great pool.
Yeah.
Personally, I also think that voting for the SNP for an independence vote is a means to an end. It's not something that's going to be sustainable, because as soon as they get independence, if it happens, they don't have any objections past that. They don't want to run an independent Scotland. They want an independent Scotland. At that point, they're going to dissolve, and we will have a choice of whatever parties are going to be in power. I think.
You hope.
I do hope.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't like it for all the people that call the fucking SNP Nazis and all that to actually find that there is some sort of power grab.
I think that we'll find ourselves in a horrible, horrible dystopian future where we inevitably get independence in Scotland, because we'll absolutely get independence in Scotland, but then we're going to have to look around and realise that you hate, I don't mean you specifically, but you hate 45% of the people that live in your country, and they hate you as much as you hate them, and it's an added level of division, and I'm really anti that. So
yes, it's funny how all of this links to money, and how it's always the rich that turn the poor against each other, and the middle class, who aren't actually middle class, they're just better off working people, try to associate themselves with the upper class, and then they're fooled into believing that they're middle class, and therefore they're the next step up in the class system, and everybody below them is either scroungers or doesn't deserve or shouldn't be looked after or just need to pull themselves up with their bootstraps. It's a systematic devaluing of humanity. If you don't have X amount of money, everybody else can just go and get shit on.
And I believe this is the woke bullshit that Glenn was talking about.
I would like to say it's bullshit, but
no,
prove me wrong.
No. I mean, but you can't be proved wrong, because it's an idea that you hold. So you know what I mean?
Okay, fair enough. It is an ideology, but it's also my opinion on how the economy in Britain is actually controlled. Tell poor people there is other poor people to blame, cause infighting, and then run away with all the money. And that's exactly how it works. You go to places like Barrow and Furness and shit, who voted Tory and voted to leave the EU based on complete lies, genuine complete lies, while the very government that has stripped all the assets and work away and the infrastructure for that work blame immigrants. How's it immigrants' fault that you've not got a job when it was the government in power that shut that industry?
Guys, should I be clipping this stuff out of the show?
No, you shouldn't be. My point isn't that you should align with my views. My point is that you should think for yourself. I try and think as much as possible, like, what would I want other people to say if it was me that was in the situation where I'm in the worst position? And would they even take the time to try and help me see a different perspective? If they don't agree with me, fuck it, that's their call. You want to vote for fucking Christmas and you're a turkey, you wire in. As long as you've got conviction and you've looked into it and you've listened to other arguments, then
no one listens to any other arguments. That's just
I do. I try to.
Again, I'm generalising when I say nobody.
I know,
but generally speaking,
the internet has made people so divisive.
Yeah.
So divisive.
So I see the point that you're making, Glenn, about cancel culture and woke bullshit. But
can we read the rest of it and just see what he says very quickly?
Sure, yeah, go for it.
So Glenn Danzig has shared his thoughts on cancel culture. I know we keep talking about stories before we read them. We really should kind of...
Well, we don't want to be, as pointed out in the fan mail, Levi likes an hour and 30-minute show. So
I'm not far off.
I know.
It's pretty fucking bang on.
Yeah.
Glenn Danzig shared his thoughts on cancel culture, saying the presence will stop another punk explosion from happening. Singer was discussing his new vampire spaghetti western film in an interview with Rolling Stone, in which he reflected on Misfits' classic Last Caress. For exactly the lyrics I was talking about. Recalling how the band would do things just to piss people off, Danzig said the song has an attitude of fuck everybody, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck the world. He then went on to say that he believes a song of that ilk aren't possible to create anymore. I don't think people will ever see anything like it again. There won't be any new bands coming out like that. Now they will immediately get cancelled. And that's why bands like Brojob don't exist. People don't understand, because everything's so cancel culture, woke bullshit nowadays, that you could never have the punk explosion nowadays because the cancel culture and woke bullshit. Is he just saying the same things in circles? You know who he sounds like? Fucking John Schaefer.
Yeah.
He does. It's that same, everybody fucking, you can't say what you fucking mean. You can't. Like, no, you can, but you're going to be held accountable for being a cunt. You should never have it. It would never have happened. We're lucky it happened when it did, because it'll never happen again. You won't have any of those kinds of bands ever again. Everyone's so uptight and PC. It's just like, okay, whatever. Totally not true.
Yeah, totally.
But go off, mate.
Yeah.
Wire in. Danzig recently shared the first trailer of the new film Death Rider in the House of Vampires. Oh, I can't wait to never watch that. Speaking of the film back in December 2019, oh, you're taking your time with it then. It's much different, of course, because there's no comic book to follow. So we had pretty free reign in the movie. All the characters have a traditional vampire name and a traditional western name. A lot of guest cameos in it. Some friends of mine came in and did some cameos in the movie. It's based on the European cinema.
Last year, Danzig released a new album made up of Elvis Presley covers.
You'll never see somebody like Elvis again. Everybody's too woke for that. Honestly, Glenn Danzig, your opinion is irrelevant. It's not irrelevant. That's a really horrible and dismissive way to talk. I don't agree with it. I think you haven't provided any argument whatsoever for the statement that you are claiming.
Yeah.
When there is already plenty of confrontational music out there.
Yeah.
Were your argument perfect, Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion would have been fucking launched into the sun.
Yeah.
They would have fucking probably took Lil Nas X and flung him in jail.
Yeah.
And so many other things just wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
You talk shit. You are talking shit.
Yeah. And I don't want to say he'd be the first to jump to cancel culture, but there will be all this music that he doesn't like that he would happily argue, oh well, that shouldn't exist. That's garbage. Like music, people are always going to want to make the music that they want to make. And sure, I will agree with the notion that a band that comes out now that just says fuck you, fuck everybody, fuck the world, you're all fucking cunts, cunt, fuck, are probably going to have a harder time with it.
Getting into the mainstream, yes.
Yeah, not necessarily even just getting into the mainstream, but they will have people. What we have today in 2021 is people not liking something, but then actually going out of their way to try and do something about the thing that they don't want to consume.
Mm-hmm.
Which he hasn't made that point very eloquently. That seems very fucking weird to me. Let people enjoy the fucking things that they want to enjoy. But yeah, it's just embarrassing because it's such a narrow-minded view of the world. Because as you pointed out, Cardi B, there you go. That's prime cancel culture shit right there. But that's never going to be cancelled.
I think if cancel culture really exists, Metallica would never have been able to play Last Caress at almost every single gig they've ever done.
I mean, if
because they cover Last Caress.
It feels wrong for me to say if cancel culture exists because we know cancel.
You know what I mean? If the prevalence of this
Sure.
cancel, I don't think cancel culture exists. I think people misunderstand holding people accountable for what they say.
Yeah, I
and
think
take it too far.
I think
If
that's
you
the
want to call
argument
that
people
cancel
make
culture.
when they say cancel culture. They're trying to ignore the argument that the other side is making when they talk
Mhm.
about cancel culture. They sidestep it by going, "Yeah, well, no. What actually happens is this," and you just need to say to these people, "Sure." But that's the thing that people are talking about.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's more a disagreement on the terminology then, because I think cancel culture makes it sound as if everybody wants rid of everything that isn't exactly this. But the point is that people have different views. The point is that people they draw lines independently on what's acceptable and what's not.
Yeah.
And some people are so strong on that mindset that when they draw the line, what they mean is anything past that is open for attack. It's free reign. It's
James
open
Gunn
season.
making off-color jokes on Twitter 10 years ago is not a reason for him to no longer be directing films for Marvel. Like that, I would like to think that's not up for debate, but of course, that's what people are talking about when they talk about cancel culture. And it's so easy to go, yeah, but it's just the consequences of your actions. And it's like, sure, obviously everything that happens is a consequence of my actions. But what I'm saying, or what it's being said here, is the consequences of these actions, off-color jokes from 10 years ago, does not mean that you suddenly shouldn't be able to work 10 years later.
It's a disproportionate use of force. I mean, it depends entirely on what the comments are. I don't know them offhand or what was said.
He made some like 10 years ago on Twitter, made some pedo jokes.
Right.
People have...
I'm not going to lie. I don't know a single person who has not made a off-color joke in my presence, and I've probably laughed at most of them because humour can be a very, very important tool for dealing with trauma and difficult subjects, as well as like you can say things and not mean them and not mean any harm. Somebody takes that in a harmful way, then if it were me personally, I would apologise. I would say fair enough. I won't joke about that kind of thing. I can see why you'd be upset by that.
I'd say I won't joke about that thing in your presence.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like I would never openly want to upset anyone, and if they were to tell me that whatever had been said or the subject or whatever was a touchy one, then you would be like, I'm really sorry, because it's nothing personal. You're not laughing at the despair of a person. You're not trying to, at least. But it can be a really common coping mechanism for talking about really difficult situations, and it's something that I do. I joke about really difficult situations, even ones about myself.
Yeah.
Shit like mental health.
Oh,
shit
absolutely,
like fucking suicide. Like all like fucking money. Like everything. And some people like to laugh, some people don't. That's fair enough. But
well, I have a really dark sense of humour.
You do.
From that, I can, you know that you're in a safe space when you're around me. You can make the darkest jokes you like, and I've seen you make some pretty fucking dark jokes.
Don't you fall into that fucking language barrier of safe space, woke culture, behave? We don't need a safe space. I don't think either of us are worried about triggering each other or re-traumatizing each other.
No, but I think therein lies the fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
there is no doubt in my mind, and I'm sure in your mind as well, that if people had access to the microphones on our phones and they could hear everything that everybody said at any given time.
So if they work for Google,
like you, a bastion of hope for humanity, one of the most the best-hearted people I know, you could easily be cancelled for the things that you've done and said, because
1,000,000 times over.
And that's that's when people talk about cancel culture. That's the thing, because nobody is too pure. Nobody is too pure.
Of course not.
Let he who is without sin
Cast the first stone.
We have all done and said horrific things.
Of course we have. And
if you haven't, you're really boring.
I think the real problem here is the lack of understanding about context and intent.
Yeah, which we talk about all the time.
We do. You and I batter on about it all the time, but that's because we have a kind of lived experience of having to deal with.
Yeah.
Or not us personally, but we have witnessed.
Yeah.
And have lived experience vicariously.
Yeah.
Maybe is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
With other people who have dealt with genuine bollocks.
Yeah. It matters to me when, and I hate being the guy that has to defend Nazis, because I don't want to defend Nazis. I'm not defending Nazis here. But when someone says there's never a reason to do a Hitler salute, there's never a reason to do a Hitler salute. Let's say tomorrow Boris Johnson decides to round up all of the immigrants that are in the UK and deport them all, right?
You're not going to see Kyle, are you?
Then if 10,000 people then go to the Houses of Parliament and Hitler salute at them as a political statement of what have you turned into?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that seems like a pretty fucking valid reason to do a Hitler salute.
I think that would be a very striking show of solidarity that we will never have in the UK because the media is owned by the rich and they will allow anything they want to happen.
Point is, without going on your favourite subject of fucking rich people, there's
context. I don't like fuck rich people.
Context fucking matters.
Context and intent.
Yeah,
both of them
cannot
are super
say
important.
that there is never a reason. There is never a reason to do a Hitler salute. Like, what? There absolutely is. Like, there's never a reason, and I'm not even going to do it. And I hate myself for self-censoring, but it's just not worth the trouble. There is never a reason to say the N-word. There's absolutely reasons to say the N-word. Talking about the historical importance of the N-word. When I say the N, I'm just going to keep saying the N-word over and over again. The N-word, the N-word. You know what I'm saying when I say the N-word. You're hearing the word in your mind. Like, I'm saying it.
Here's the other context I would take into opinion with that one, because obviously that word itself has really, really negative connotations, and understandably, and the reactions are very negative. If it was someone who's been genuinely affected by the use of that word and ties into their heritage and stuff, I would take whatever they've got to say. Absolutely. Okay, I'll consider that, and if I didn't consider it before, I apologise.
I
get what you're saying.
I went out of my way to try and get some support for this on Twitter, because I was playing Watch Dogs Legion, as you all know, Watch Dogs Legion, and I caught this little clip in the game. You can do emotes and you can insult people. So my Pat Butcher, she's like, "Fuck off, you wanker," type thing, right? So I've got a police officer here. I'm playing as a police officer, and I was going through his insults because it's funny. And we got this. Inbred pikey. I mean,
it's a very dangerous one to include in a game that's based in the UK, especially in the current climate. And
it's a racial slur. Like, it's just a racial slur.
But my point is that, especially at the moment, because there's such a focal view, certainly in Scotland, on how the travelling community are being viewed and demonised. And it's always been the same in the UK, especially Romani Gypsies.
Yeah.
And just travelling communities in general.
That wouldn't normally bother me, but because, like, cool, all right, fine. But now I'm dating someone that in her life has been pushed down to the ground and had her head kicked in while people have called her a pikey because she's a Roma gypsy. Like, so.
But that's entirely what I'm saying here.
That's
like,
fine.
It depends on the actual context.
Yeah. Evidently, that's fine to be in a game, but you couldn't have the N-word in the game because we just attribute special standing to certain words, and then other ones, gypsy community, fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck the gypsies.
Societally, yes.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that's exactly what I was talking about earlier that you don't want me to rant about. Yeah. It is who controls what language is allowed and what isn't. And a big part of that is generally the main media of the country.
But to bring it on to Glenn, like, says that there can't be a modern punk explosion. Like, how? I think.
I really
generally
hope there
speaking-
isn't. Punk's shite.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
I like the idea of like a
I like pop punk.
a counter culture.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And subculture divisions of whatever kind of rebellion needs to happen. I would love to see it. I mean, I think Idols are a good example of almost that. They are going so counter convention. They are an all male band, as far as I know. They all associate, they all identify as male, but they talk about subjects and that are really quite impassioned to people who've been marginalised and the working class and people who are angry but no way to vent it really that I can see. And it's like well, if you're not going to stick up for yourself, we're going to do it. And as soon as you feel like you can join in, get in with us.
Which to me is inherently punk.
Of course,
and I
it
think
is.
that, like, to close this up, punk means different things to different people, and I'm sure that there will be people out there that when they think of punk, what they think is, and I think this is maybe what Glenn thinks of punk as being, which is edgelord stuff. As a punk, it's your duty to just say offensive things. It's just your duty to be offensive. And while I am supportive of your right to just say offensive things for the sake of just saying offensive things, I don't think that's where punk came from. I think punk came from rebellion and standing up and being counted and saying things that society wanted to hear but nobody was comfortable fucking saying. And for that reason, the biggest punk explosion is still ongoing.
Yes.
In society's standing up. Like, Black Lives Matter is the most punk thing that has happened in the last 50 years. Fact.
It's a rejection of modern values that don't actually value certain groups.
Yeah. So,
just
should we end that there?
Aye, fuck you, Glenn.
Fuck you, Glenn.
As much as I like the song Mother and I like Last Caress, otherwise your music's irrelevant to me.
Right.
Sorry.
So it's been a good one. Thank you very much, guys. Did you know? This show is brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars, and I want to let you guys know that now is the time to get involved on their upcoming Run 16 guitars. Now, there's some incredible guitars here available for your money, starting as low as $1,400. That is an incredible price for some cutting-edge guitar technology. Starting up first, we have the Run 16 Hype GTRs, available in a variety of colours, 6, 7 and 8 string models. You can also get your hands on a Metal X, again in a variety of colours and different string variations. You can also purchase the Metal V Headless, which is my choice of the bunch. Absolutely stunning, especially in that Dragon Burst. Absolutely beautiful instrument, super cool. Imagine that in an 8 string, you know you want it. And then finally, we have the Hype 6 GTR Ando San signature model. Again, another Hype GTR available in 6, 7 and 8 string models. As I say, these are available with starting prices of $1,400 US, which is an incredible price. But if that's a little too much for you right now, you can get involved on an interest-free payment plan and beginning that at just 375 Australian dollars. That's an incredible deal, guys. If you like the look of any of these guitars, do not miss your opportunity. Now is the time to get involved. Anyway, on with the show. So as always, a huge thanks to our friends and family over at Ormsby Guitars. We do hope you guys go and check out their website and check out their Run 16 guitars. Get involved. Pre-order one of those delicious headless Vs. They look fantastic. I would love it if Perry would hurry up and send me one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I even want one of those more than I want one of the Hypes with an Evertune in, which I never thought I'd say. Because it's dumb. I'm not going to actually play a headless V. But they look so fucking cool. I really like them. I really like them.
You are going to play it.
I mean, yeah.
It's going to get here and you'll be like, oh, I don't know bother.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
Beautiful.
I think the Ando San's something else, man.
It's a nice looking guitar. Yeah, nice looking guitar.
Tremendous.
So yeah, Mon the boys at Ormsby, go and check them out. We love them very much, and you will like what they are making. So go and check them out. Also, big thanks to our friends over at Dead World Audio. Please do go and check out Dead World Audio. Check out the Duality DX. Daniel is a good chap. Puts in good work. Makes good stuff. And you should support good people that make good stuff. This is how the industry keeps going around. So yeah. And lastly, please do go and check us out on buymeacoffee.com. Again, link is in the description. We also have t-shirts. You know, we are seeing people buying t-shirts every now and again, which is nice. Did you see Nick posting his picture of him?
I didn't.
Yeah.
Was it on the?
Tell you what, let's bring it up.
Yes.
Big shout out to Nick.
And the Discord on Twitter. I don't use Twitter.
Everywhere. Posted it everywhere.
You handsome bastard.
There he is. Go and follow Samurai Fingers. Nick puts in good work. So yeah, and there we are. Adorned on someone's chest.
Nice.
Very nice. So if you want a Guitar Souls t-shirt, we have a few designs. Obviously, you can't go and buy the periphery one because I'm not an asshole. But I do have 2 of those on order. There is one coming for you and me. So
that'd be interesting.
because I don't mind riling people up. Happy to do it.
It'll be a good laugh.
Anything you want to add, Mike?
Just a big thanks yet again for everybody tuning in. Please send us some fan mail. If you can support us and you would like to, please do. There's no obligation. We're always here. If you want to chat to us about anything, Monday Night Guitar Geek Club. Unfortunately, I won't be there this week. That hopefully won't be a recurring theme for the ongoing future, but there might be a few where I'll need to dip away. I know that's been quite the same recently, but yeah, again, and thanks to everybody for reaching out and coming, listening and talking and just generally wanting to hang out. It's good fun.
I agree fully. So we love you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much for joining us on this Monday Night Guitar Geek Club. Mike, until next time.
Fuck the Tories.
Bye, fuckers.